into the day with the dawn ringing in my ears. Oh, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my wake up in the morning espresso. I feel good today. It's my feel good breakfast show.
We are cruising through the week. Welcome to it. A very good morning. My name is Graham Richards. Welcome to your eco-conscious Thursday morning where we celebrate Earth Day today. It should be every day, but this is that day where we cast a very special focus. And this year's theme is Restore Our Earth, which focuses on natural processes emerging in green technologies and innovative thinking that will help us restore the world's ecosystems. And I think we have a massive role to play here in South Africa. So we're hoping that you will tune in today to learn a thing or two about the impact you can make on the planet and how our future generations will also be able to reap the benefits of us being a little bit more conscious of looking after our beautiful Earth. And I suppose this is a day that one guy in particular must really celebrate because he is Nature Boy. A very good morning, team.
Yes, G, it's a good day today. Indeed, we're celebrating Earth Day. Good morning, Jamie. How are you doing?
Happy Earth Day, Earthling.
Yes.
Happy Earth Day to you from South Africa. I know you're smiling from ear to ear
because smile, such an important day. I mean, I think it was 1970 when we first commemorated this day and brought about a consciousness for Earth to kind of protect and stop the damage that we've been causing. We were just going crazy in the 70s. And I think it was a time for us to just kind of take note of the damage that we're causing and give a voice to Earth. And yeah, we've come all this way. We've done a lot of damage, but there's also a lot of new innovative tech, new ways to live and new ways to kind of promote the Earth. And I think that's what's important.
And like the fact that the theme is to restore that, to get it back to where it was. I mean, it's going to take a lot of efforts, but that is why we're asking you on our social media, what effort are you making to make sure that the planet is healthy, making sure that the planet is green, making sure that it is sustainable for our future generations? Please do let us know if you have any tips. I know we're going to be doing our own organic farm today with Tasha, so I'm very excited for that. But what efforts are you making? I know there's so many, but just off the top of your head.
Off the top of my head, I think it's just the general living that's impacting us a lot, especially when it comes to things like plastic. So reducing plastic is important. Going to shops and buying things from glass instead, refilling, reusing, reutilizing, and upcycling is always the way. We just are impacting too much. So I think it's the everyday things that we need to start changing. Use a carbon toothbrush. Use a bamboo toothbrush instead of a plastic one. It's small things that kind of make a difference like that. But we'll be doing so much more about this, digging into what really is going to make a positive impact on Earth right throughout the show. You can tell I'm so excited. There's going to be a massive smile on my face throughout the day. But before we get into it, let's find out first up what's happening in the news with G.
I'd say first up, in honor of Earth Day, maybe try swapping out those baby wipes for something that is biodegradable. Now let's start with our news headlines. And here in South Africa, of course, South Africans will be going to the polls for local government elections on Wednesday, the 27th of October. The presidency announced this date in a media statement last night. This will be the sixth time under SA's democratic dispensation that voters will elect leadership and public representatives at metropolitan, district and local levels. And the confirmation of the date ends speculation as to whether there would be a postponement of elections as proposed by certain opposition parties. Now, looking at links further abroad, online US shopping retailer Wish yesterday announced a strategic partnership with the South African Post Office that to strengthen its logistics capabilities and customer experience for South African consumers. Wish will be working directly with the Post Office to create more consistent and efficient benefits. Wish said the company aimed to democratize e-commerce and make it affordable, accessible and open to all. Sekano Khalanyane, head of the logistics at the Post Office, said the move would keep the state-owned enterprise relevant and in line with the latest e-commerce trends. Now, on the international front, Chad's main opposition parties say the army's appointment of President Idris Deby's son as the nation's new leader is, and we quote, an institutional coup. 68-year-old Deby, who had been in power for 3 decades, died after being shot while fighting rebels on the front line. Mohamed Idris Deby Itno headed the presidential guard and will now lead the country for 18 months until the elections. But constitutional experts say the Speaker of Parliament should take over when a sitting president succumbs before organizing elections. Then an Indonesian Navy submarine has gone missing with a crew of 53 on board. It was conducting a drill north of the island of Bali yesterday, but failed to report back and contact was lost. Indonesia's military chief said warships had been dispatched to locate the vessel. Australia and Singapore have also been asked for assistance. The German-made submarine is thought to have disappeared in waters some 100 kilometers off the coast of Bali. Some reports say contact was lost after the submarine had been given clearance to dive into deeper waters. And next, we bring it back home for a story of perseverance in the true sense of the word. 47-year-old Natasha Dietrich of Belhar, Cape Town, is a woman to whom one doffs your cap. This mother of two once scrubbed floors, but today is a primary school teacher. She was a former cleaner at the University of the Western Cape, or UWC, but now teaches at the Dr. Funder Ross Primary School in Belhar. As a cleaner for some 9 years, she attended classes during the day, and her shifts as cleaner ran from 3 p.m. up until midnight. She did both at the same time, also working over weekends. Natasha says she was driven by her dream of being an inspiration in her country, and she adds, and again I quote, "I have learned that nothing is impossible, and where you come from or your background doesn't matter. There are too many young people without a vision." And she views teaching as the best manner of making a difference in the lives of young children. And her children and her mother are obviously her biggest inspiration. UWC's Dean of Education, Professor Rajendran Govender, said Natasha was an industrious and dedicated student, always brimming with ideas to promote collaboration among her peers. And once again, we doff our cap to you, Natasha. Well done. What a story to round off on. Let's get into our sporting headlines. Let's start with rugby news. Dual Rainbow Cup tournaments with no cross-hemisphere fixtures have now been announced. That's after South African teams have not been able to get the required permission to travel to the UK and Ireland. Despite exploring multiple efforts to get the South African teams to travel safely to Europe, Pro 14 Rugby and South African Rugby have now had to operate dual tournaments at the same time. The full fixture schedule for the revised Pro 14 Rainbow Cup, including kickoff times and broadcast information, will be released in due course. Then on to cricket. An unbeaten 63 from Johnny Bairstow helped the Sunrisers Hyderabad to their first win of the 2021 Indian Premier League season. The Sunrisers recording a 9-wicket victory over the Punjab Kings at the Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. In other IPL results, Chennai Super Kings, they moved to the top of the IPL table. That was after beating the Kolkata Knight Riders by 18 runs in Mumbai. South Africa's Faf du Plessis, again on fire, was named man of the match, smashing an unbeaten 95 from just 60 deliveries, hitting 9 fours and 4 sixes in the process. Then there'll be one IPL fixture today, and that's the Royal Challengers Bangalore up against the Rajasthan Royals, kicking off at 4 p.m. Then our midweek Premier Soccer League action continued last night with big wins for Cape Town City FC and Golden Arrows, while defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns were held against Amazulu. Tashreeq Morris and Bradley Renani led Cape Town City to a 2-1 win over Kaizer Chiefs, and Golden Arrows continued their fantastic away form with a 1-0 win over Supersport United. Some major scalps there. Sundowns and Amazulu and Black Leopards and Stellenbosch FC, they all played out to goalless draws in their respective fixtures. The PSL action will continue again tomorrow. Then more football news coming out of the local scene. Soweto Giants Orlando Pirates were held to a goalless draw against Algerian club ES Setif at the Orlando Stadium. That was in their CAF Confederation Cup yesterday. Buccaneers took one step closer to the Cup quarterfinals despite failing to break the deadlock at home. But regardless of the draw, the Bucks, they retained their unbeaten record, and they now top Group A as a result with 9 points. More footballing news. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City now have moved again 11 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. That was after sealing a 2-1 win and revenge over Aston Villa at Villa Park late last night. The goals by Phil Foden and Rodri, they secured the win for the Sky Blues. Now other results with their fresh new manager in charge, the youngest in the league. In fact, Tottenham Hotspur came from behind to beat Southampton 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That was thanks to goals by Gareth Bale, who got a start, and Son Heung-min from the penalty spot. And the Premier League will continue tonight as Leicester City will face West Bromwich, and that one at 9 p.m. Well, that's where we leave our sport for now. Let's take you through some of those beautiful sunrise pictures and get a take on the weather.
Thank Thank you so much, Mr. G-Man, for that sports update. But thank you to each one of you that took the time to share your sunrise view with us. It really is a great way to start the day. Now, first up this morning, we have this great image of a sky filled with some blue and yellow hues shared by Daniel Mohale. Beautiful indeed. Another one from Donna Little, who shared this moody yet fresh morning view of the sky with the sun rising in the distance, casting its light through the clouds. Again, another stunning one for this morning. Now, of course, if you too would like to be featured during our sunrise segment, it really is so simple. All you need to do right now is head on over to the Expresso Facebook page to share your sunrise photo with us. And who knows, you may just see your photo here next time. Hashtag famous, everybody. Now, we also have a growing community of international viewers who tune in daily via the Africa channel and YouTube. And this morning we are heading to the city of Rochester, which is located in the state of New York. Rochester was one of the United States' first boom towns, initially due to the fertile Genesee River Valley, which gave rise to numerous flour mills, and then as a manufacturing center, which then spurred further rapid population growth. Now, the city experiences 4 distinct seasons throughout the year, with winters being cold. Temperatures can reach as low as 18 degrees, or rather negative 18 degrees Celsius. Today, though, your temperatures will start at -1 and peak at only 4 degrees Celsius. Also do expect a cloudy yet breezy day ahead with a cold snow shower, so you might want to grab a jacket as well. And then now some news most appropriate for the celebration of Earth Day today is that US President Joe Biden has succeeded in rallying the world on climate change. Now, just 3 months into office, Biden will today and tomorrow welcome 40 world leaders, including Russia and China, for a virtual Earth Day summit, which heralds a US return to the climate front lines amid mounting worries over the rapid heating of the planet. Now, Biden, who is promoting a green-friendly $2 trillion infrastructure package at home, is expected to announce an ambitious new US target for slashing emissions responsible for climate change over the next decade. China's President Xi Jinping is also expected to deliver, and I quote, an important speech at the meeting. On Tuesday, Britain announced the most ambitious target of any major economy, saying it would slash emissions by 78% by 2035 from 1990 levels. Meanwhile, environmentalists are urging nations to take immediate action, not just make longer-term promises. Year to you, Joe Biden. Well, right now it's time to bring it back home and have a first look at the temperatures for today. We start off with Polokwane. Do expect a low of 11 today, peaking at a 25. For you, Umbumbela, it ranges from 15 to 30. Pretoria, if you're out and about, your low is 14 with a high of 24. Johannesburg, 12, 22. Mahikeng coming through with a low of 9 and a high of 26. Klerksdorp for you, there's a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 26. And then Kimberley ranges from 11 to 26 as well. Bloemfontein, for you, it is 8:25. Richards Bay, do expect some thunder showers coming your way with a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 29. Pietermaritzburg ranges from 12 to 26 a day, and South Africa's playground, Durban, ranges from 19 to 26 as well. Mthatha, 12:23. East London ranges from 17 to 21, and do expect some rain coming your way today as well. Cradock, 9:26. Gqeberha, 17:23. George, for you, it is a low of 14 and a high of 23, and then the mother city, Cape Town, ranges from 12 to 24 today. Worcester, for you, it is 13, peaking at 31. Sutherland with a minimum of 8 and a maximum of 24, and then Uppington ranges from 14 and showing off with a high of 31 today. It's going to be a beautiful day wherever you find yourself, but happy Earth Day to all of you.
Love it, man. Love it. Beautiful day. Awesome story there about what the US are doing at the planet. I mean, what a shift in direction. Yeah. Fantastic. But what we're going to focus on, we're going to go from the planet to ourselves in just a moment. We're going to focus on a little bit of self-care this morning.
It's always important. It's always important to fill your cup up. Remember, G, so you can fill up others, and that's exactly what we're doing today. Our cup is being filled so we can fill the rest of Mzansi and share some of this epic Earth Day magic with you. So stick around. We'll see you soon.
Sunrise Snaps are prize winners. Give it your best shot on Expresso, and yours could win you one of those oh-so-chic Nespresso travel mugs. So snap your best sunrise and post it to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook page with the hashtag Nespresso Sunrise. Winners are announced Mondays on the show, and competition closes the 5th of May. So let's be seeing those morning masterpieces.
Welcome back, you beautiful souls. It's Earth Day. We're celebrating right through this morning, of course, but we're talking about something a little bit more personal now, and strides have been made when it comes to men's self-care over the past decades, and it's really impressive to say the least. Now, we've got beard oils and balms, as well as exercise equipment, and it's a lot easier for men to take care of themselves than it ever was before. Now, self-care has definitely become an essential part of life, and so should it be. And this is why I'm asking my man right here, gee, brother, I've seen you working the game for so many years, man. How do you stay looking this good? And why is self-care so important to you, brother?
Well, we have a team of people who make sure that we look TV ready every morning, so that's like a massive blow. But I think, you know, the weird thing is it works in cycles for me, and maybe you find this as well as a guy. It's something that you'll sometimes forget about. You'll get caught up in other things and you won't focus on it, and then you'll reach this breaking point. You realize, okay, I need to take the time for me. Maybe it's getting a haircut. Maybe it's a bit of a routine on a Sunday just to get yourself refreshed, and then you realize how much better you feel just by doing that one small little thing, just by taking yourself, and this is something that's in your control, just by taking care of yourself can kind of change the momentum for your entire day, for your week. It's a great way to kind of get yourself into a positive mindset. So as much as, yes, it's like a physical process, it's, I think, probably on a deeper level, it's about getting your head in the game. So if I've got a big week coming up, the first thing I'll do that Sunday, I'll get myself feeling good, looking good, and that's key, you know?
Feel good, look good. It's quite an important part of that. Well, man, let's see, put your proof to the pudding. Let's see if your words are really what they're saying. We've got something here about G in terms of his glow up. Let's check what it's out.
I know where I belong, and nothing's gonna happen. 'Cause she's so high above me. She's so lovely.
Well, you didn't talk about that. I mean, if you had that skill,
oh, no, that's how I do it every morning. That's how I do it. I like the slow-mo, just made it for me. That's what I do.
Sometimes have Jack in your arm and a coffee in the morning, and it's like, Jack, hang on a second.
Yeah, exactly. No, 2 kids, one in either arm like that, and that's every day. Drinking coffee through a straw if I can. I like to, but that's how I enter the studio every day, is in slow motion. I do my glow up, and then I just walk slow.
I've seen it, Mzansi. If you guys ever hear BTS, you'd see it too. But now look, last week we gave you the chance to win an awesome Big Flex 2 hamper, and today we are so excited because we are announcing that third winner. So can I get a drum roll, please? Brrr, our winner is Gene Singh! Yes! Now, Gene, you've won yourself. Oh, you're this week's winner, of course, and you got that Flex 2 hamper, and it's filled with all those grooming goodies to help you stay looking so fresh, and maybe as fresh as G2. So we can see you and your squad looking all so dapper. Now, listen up, though, because you still have one more shot, right? Because Bic are giving one last lucky viewer the chance to win themselves a Flex 2 hamper valued at over 1,000 Rand. Yeah, that's right. So all you got to do is head over to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook or Twitter page and post a photo of you and your squad looking fresh, and of course use that hashtag BigFlex2. Now, this week's competition closes on Sunday, the 25th of April at midnight, so enter now, hurry up. And of course, those T's and C's can be found at expressoshow.com, and maybe you might be looking as fly as Gene is.
2 flexible blades for a smoother shave. Open blade architecture for an easy rinse. Choose Bic Flex 2 for a closer, smoother shave.
Right, well, if we can spare a little time for self-care for ourselves, we can spare some time to take care of our planet too. Not just today, every day, but today we are, in fact, celebrating Earth Day and exploring the different ways that we can protect and preserve our beautiful planet.
Get this. Did you actually know that to date, Nespresso has planted more than 2.8 million trees? Yes, 2.8 million trees. And what they're trying to do is to ensure the source of the coffee remains sustainable. Amazing. Now, coffee farming is an art with knowledge that is passed down from generation to generation.
I love that. Now, Nespresso takes us on a trip to the mountains of Colombia with a rich coffee culture where some of the world's finest coffees are sustainably grown by master coffee farmers. A perfect start to our Earth Day show.
I'm Rena Effendi, a National Geographic photographer. Vámonos? They call Aguadas the city of mist. Here, the clouds just move in out of nowhere. You feel like you are enveloped by them. The This very special climate affects how coffee is made and its flavor. I came to Aguadas to discover this place and its people. Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? Mucho gusto, Leonel Quintero.
My journey has led me to Don Leonel, a local farmer who is devoted to coffee. It's his life's work.
Vamos, enseño mi finca.
Okay.
¿Sí?
What makes Aguadas so special?
Porque aquí nací, este es mi pueblo y quiero mi pueblo y mi tierra. Por eso una vez tomé la decisión de terminar, de trabajar en la ciudad, renuncié y efectivamente tomé la decisión de volver a Aguadas. Más exactamente llegué a la finca.
In today's world, when everything is mechanized, I'm amazed to see how much of an artisanal craft coffee production is. Workers handpick the dark red cherries. They have to be perfectly ripe to go.
Se produce un muy buen café entre 1.800 metros y 2.000 metros sobre el nivel del mar. Es un café que a mayor altura se va desarrollando lentamente y eso repercute en un mejor sabor, en una mejor taza.
The cherries then get pulped and fermented for 15 hours.
Ya cascajea, ya tiene punto de lavado. Mira, observa. ¿Sí?
Smells great. What is so unique about the fermentation process here in Aguadas?
El café en Aguadas necesita un tiempo más prolongado para la fermentación. Esto hace que en ese tiempo se transfieran esos sabores especiales al grano de café y por ende a una mejor taza de café.
Don Leonel is a master at his craft, but even he has support with local agronomists to help bring out the best in his coffee. What is your role here with the farmers?
La tarea de nosotros es identificar para cada caficultor la mejor práctica. Bueno, como cada finca es un mundo diferente, nosotros vamos a las fincas y recomendamos las prácticas más adecuadas para cada finca.
There's a human touch to every stage of making coffee. It's a slow, meditative, and time-consuming process. I find great beauty in this level of dedication and attention to detail.
¿Bien?
Bien, bien. Where does it go next? Where does it go from here?
Lo llevo al pueblo.
Don Leonel has opened a door into his life for me. He shared his love and passion for the coffee craft. I feel very grateful for that.
Wow. Wow, what a story, hey.
Beautiful little collaboration, but just like, first of all, I'd love to go there. It just seems so beautiful. But you can see how they've blended into the natural ecosystem there. We've explored that so often, how they've had to return the ecosystem to its natural state to get the best coffee, and how they rely on the terrain, you know, the terroir, that everything about that area kind of makes the coffee distinct, and we get an opportunity to taste it every
Perfect
morning.
cup of coffee every single day.
What a way to celebrate Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
With every cup, we cultivate some of the finest coffee in the world, celebrating farmers as artists, elevating every coffee moment, because with every cup, precious coffee preserves the beauty of our world. Nespresso, what else?
Only you can make my day.
welcome back, you beautiful souls. It's S3, we are live, and yes, we are celebrating Earth Day. Tubbs, how excited are you, man?
You're really,
It's my day as much as everyone's.
nature boy. You're like the ambassador for planet Earth and for all of those green things that we should be looking out for and looking after. And it's fantastic, right?
It is, man. I'm so excited. And obviously these increasingly with these times, the world has been on somewhat of a vital mission towards green recovery, and that's to accelerate climate change, and of course also to rebuild a safe and clean future for us all.
It's a whole big mission that we're all embarking on. Now, since 2010, the local NGO Green Pop has been making a difference with their forest restoration projects. They do so much in that space, spreading environmental awareness with those invested in a cleaner earth. And it's a big project, right? And we're being joined now this morning by their facilitator and educator, Damien Hewitt, to learn so much more about what they're doing and how they are aligning with Earth's Day message to restore our Earth. It's a big message, Damien. Restore the Earth.
It's a tough one. It's a big ask.
It's
tough one, but we have to do it. We have to do it.
We ruined it. We sort of have to fix it, right?
Our responsibility.
Absolutely.
Before we get into it, man, I got to ask you how you're doing this morning.
Doing wonderfully well. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good having you. It's good talking about something that is so vital. This conversation should happen every day, but I'll take today. I'm not complaining. And I mean, look, it's all about sustaining. It's all about the upkeep of the environment. How exactly, and what are some of the ways that we can actually do that? I mean, let's get straight down to it.
Well, first off, I think Earth Day provides you a wonderful opportunity to reflect and appreciate nature for what it gives us. But in terms of what we can do, in terms of actionables, start by volunteering at a local environmental organization, or start or be a part of a fundraiser for an environmental cause dear to your heart. If you can't do either of those, it's as simple as measuring your carbon footprint and challenging yourself to reduce that by making smarter consumption choices, whether it be through the fashion that we wear or the foods that we eat.
We need to be more intentional. We need to be paying attention to how we're consuming things, the things that we're consuming, the fuel that we're using, the food that we're buying, and the clothes and all of that. But of course, Green Pop, your calendar is always busy around this time. And all throughout the year, you guys are busy doing stuff. But the COVID-19 pandemic surely must have affected the way that you guys are able to carry out your mission. How has it done that, number one? And number two, I suppose, what upcoming projects and initiatives have you got lined up during this time?
Yeah, so we definitely took a pause last year. I think everybody needed a big deep breath in and a big deep breath out. But this year in June, the UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration kicks off. And to support that, we are running a week-long tree planting festival up the garden route.
Oh, wow.
Everyone is welcome at the Eden Festival of Action. It's an immersive experience with ecological restoration at its heart, but accompanied by live music and sustainable workshops. To find out more, get a ticket and raise funds for trees, go to festivalofaction.com.
Wow, man,
that's fantastic.
I want to talk more about this because this sounds exciting. So obviously you need people, government, everyone to get on board. But what exactly is going down? Because you mentioned something about an immersion in nature, planting trees, education.
Just where Raul wants.
Where's my invite?
Where Raul wants to be.
Where to start? Where to start?
So what actually happens here?
Essentially, in a nutshell, we believe that fighting climate change can be fun. And by doing it together and by connecting people with each other, we can actually have fun by combating climate change together. But also it's all about learning. So a part of the Eden Festival of Action is a variety of workshops and live music just to liven it up a little bit.
Well, let's talk about landscape restoration.
Yes.
It's a big conversation. It's been very topical the last couple of days with, of course, the Table Mountain fires that we've seen emerging that have affected the Rhodes Memorial, UCT. I mean, all those other spaces have had people displaced, essentially. Why is it so important now to really start that conversation around landscape restoration, and how can we mitigate or avoid the effects of fires like this in the future?
It's terrible, it's terrible to see what happened at UCT, and my thoughts and condolences do go out to all that were affected by the fire. I think living in the Western Cape, we understand that fire and fynbos are best friends, and they kind of rely on each other. But the dangers come, and we've seen it so evidently in this fire. It comes down to land management. The biggest danger to urban landscapes is the huge alien landscapes and trees which were nestled around UCT and around that area. So it comes down to land management, and this is the responsibility of government, of landowners, and on businesses of managing alien landscapes in their area.
What are alien landscapes,
Well, alien trees are all around us.
What are those?
It's basically everything that's higher than fynbos, but a couple of examples that were quite drastic in this last fire were big pine trees, eucalyptus trees, big blue gums. You know, Fynbos burns quite quickly and quite lightly, whereas these bigger trees pose a far bigger threat to urban landscapes, and that's what contributed to the damage in this last fire.
And they steal all the Fynbos's water as well. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, come on, we don't need that.
Listen, man, Damon, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. I would chat to you the entire day, but just in terms of the Eden Festival that's happening, if people cannot get involved and actually be there on the day, what can they maybe do to support you from the outside?
So you can volunteer with Green Pop. We run a variety of open days at our Eco Hub. You can find out more at greenpop.org. Alternatively, you can be a fundraiser for one of our restoration projects. You can raise funds in a plethora of ways, whether it be for riding, crawling or climbing for trees. You can be an agent of change in your community by raising funds for one of our restoration projects. Like I say, find out more at greenpop.org.
I love your work. Damien Hewitt is the facilitator at Green Pop. They're talking Earth Day today, but they're also talking all these fantastic initiatives that they've got lined up all throughout the year and how we can all play a role. And he's the facilitator at Green Pop, but how we can facilitate the process of changing and restoring our Earth into its green state. Go to greenpop.org for more information.
Now, from nourishing our planet to nourishing our bodies, our delicious Be Well vegetable pakoras with a green mayo. Use a handful of simple ingredients from the freezer and pantry and are guaranteed to save you time and effort and deliver, I am hoping, big flavor. Now, Taylor Inez Naika is here to show us how it's done. Tay, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm looking at the array of colors, which says that there's nutrients.
Yes.
I'm looking at things that you will probably have in your pantry already, which is really, really cool. Did I say it right? Pakoras.
Pakora, yeah.
I love that, man. It looks like a fritter. What is it essentially?
So
what are we making today?
vegetable fritter. We've got frozen veg, but you could definitely use broccoli, cauliflower that you might have at home. So yeah, it's basically just a deep fried, nutritious, beautiful,
flavorful.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's get cracking. I'm going to help you at some point. I'm guessing with the green mayo.
Definitely.
But where do we start?
Okay, so you've got your bowl of either your frozen veg or your fresh vegetables chopped up. I'm going to add some pepper, a little bit of salt, and then over here I'm going to add some garlic, fresh. You can use fresh garlic, you can use crushed garlic, it doesn't really matter.
Just want to lay it.
Yeah, we've got some chilies going. If you don't like your food too hot, I'd say maybe stick to a paprika, maybe a little cumin.
You want the flavor, but you don't necessarily need the
because
heat.
I'm also not a fan of like very hot food, so.
Yeah, I love heat, so I'm down for that.
So we're just gonna add in some turmeric.
Hence now beautiful yellow color.
You know what I'm saying? Right, so then mix it through. Coat all your vegetables in your seasoning.
Okay, so make sure that that flavor permeates through everything.
And then you're gonna add some flour. So this is gonna be to create our paste.
Okay.
Right, so we add our flour in.
I love the fact that you can take whatever vegetables you've got in your fridge and just get creative.
Exactly. And then 2 healthy
good
spoons of Be Well mayo. Right. Also mix that through and then add in your water. So this is going to create a nice thick paste.
Kind of paste our dough. Beautiful.
For sure. So you want to make sure you catch everything. Also make sure you don't have any lumps because you don't want to be eating lumps of flour.
Chunks of flour, for sure.
Right.
Oh.
Awesome. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to put your oil on a medium, I'd say a medium to high heat because you want that oil to be nice and hot.
Nice and hot when
but be very careful. I've had experience with oil in the kitchen and it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, if you're going to leave it there to heat up, just be careful.
Definitely.
This is the phase where we don't invite the kids. No, for sure.
Right.
Now I've got a 1-year-old that's learned how to walk, so like the oven is off all the time. That's basically just it, you know.
For sure.
I love this. And, you know, we're going to be using our Be Well in two different guises here. It's worth taking on board that Be Well is the original tangy mayonnaise, suitable for vegetarians and vegans like this recipe. It is 100% dairy-free and vegan-friendly. Take note of that. And it's also naturally gluten-free and endorsed by the Heart and Stroke Foundation of South Africa. So it ticks so many boxes.
It does. So all you're going to do now is, so once you've sort of mixed everything through, you want to hold your bowl as close,
Okay.
right? Put a healthy dollop into the oil.
Cool.
And allow that to just do its thing.
Quite exciting.
Yeah.
It's like really cool.
So I'd say maybe fry 3 to 4 at a time. You don't want to overload your pan and your oil.
Bring the oil heat
Yeah.
down. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, what do I need to do on my side of the kitchen? What's going on here?
Okay, so you're going to be making our sauce. So put a healthy amount of mayonnaise. I'm not going to give you a...
I suppose it's up to you how much you
so
need.
maybe
hey?
put like another, Let's go. Beautiful.
There we go.
Lovely. Awesome.
Okay, what else is going in here?
And then we're going to put some of your coriander.
Cool.
Love coriander.
You're going to have to win me over, girl. You're going to have to win
Really?
me over, but maybe this is the sauce to do it. Then.
Some fresh mint goes in there too.
Okay.
And then add in, we've got some fresh garlic and ginger in there. And a healthy squeeze of lemon.
Beautiful stuff.
Amazing.
That does look amazing.
Right. And I'm just going to close that up.
It smells amazing as well. Just want to get that all down to the bottom if we can.
There we go. Let's check that out.
I'm about to add a little bit more mayonnaise.
Now we got some water.
A little drop. Oh, that's smelling so fresh
Yeah.
and beautiful. I love it that you can have the contrast of that beautiful texture. There we go, look at that.
Lovely.
Woohoo! Wonderful. So I'm going to have a little taste. So if you don't mind,
Yes.
I am going to taste
Please do.
the final product because this looks amazing.
Yeah?
Ooh, that's nice.
Winning.
It sings. I'll eat coriander like that. Absolutely beautiful. Where's my knife and fork?
So all we're gonna...
Is it a little bit weird that I'm so excited to be tasting this this morning? These look beautiful. I love the range of colours, and I really
and I'm
love
sure
the idea.
the flavour is fantastic. So... Winning?
Oh my
Winning.
word.
How's that? And we did that
can
in
find
what,
it.
like less than 10 minutes?
Exactly, and it's healthy, it's nutrient rich, it's simple. You can find it on expressoshow.com. That's where we house all of our culinary inspiration. Taylor, you are a genius. This is absolutely
you so
beautiful. In fact, I didn't get it down with the first taste. I'm going to have to try again. That is
Yeah, chef's kiss.
beautiful. Oh, lovely.
Awesome.
Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue to celebrate, commemorate and reinforce the message behind Earth Day. Peace, animal and environmental activist Sven Fortley will be leaving from Greenpoint Park today and heading north of Namibia to do his bit to stop the oil and gas that is drilling happening in the area, threatening the Okavango Delta ecosystem, one of our greatest natural resources. And as we celebrate Earth Day 2021, Sven believes we all need to come together to care for and protect our planet. What a message. And this morning, the activist and cyclist and fashion aficionado joins us in studio as he sets off for cycles off. Oh, good man.
Look at these colors. Imagine seeing this man rolling up in the road.
But Sven, how are they going to see you, man? How are they going to see you
Exactly.
coming? Welcome to it, my friend. Welcome
Good morning,
to it.
brother. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you so much for rolling in and joining us this morning. Yeah. And this is a huge day. I mean, today is the day you're literally going to start this journey, leaving for Namibia, I believe, which is huge on its own. But what was the reason for even choosing the Okavango Delta in the first place, and why is it so close to you? I mean, why specifically this area?
Yeah, it wasn't really my first choice. I was actually going to leave last year already on Earth Day, and I was going to cycle through Africa anyway. And in December, I heard about the drilling in the Okavango, and I thought, well, somebody's got to go there and stop this, and I thought, who better than me?
Huh? Where did this, being an activist is in the way that we live is one thing, but then going out there and tackling it in this way is slightly different. When did that switch flick in you that you had to now activate yourself and start doing these things in this way?
I think it was 10 years ago with COP17. It was 2011, and I heard COP17 was going to be in Durban, and I just thought, if everybody that cares for the Earth is going to be there, then I must be there. Yeah. I care for the Earth, and I'll cycle up there. So,
and
you haven't stopped.
Yeah, I haven't stopped. 10 years later, I'm doing the same thing.
10 years later, how long would a journey like this actually last? I mean, what's the preparation that goes behind it? Talk to us about it, man.
Yeah, about preparation. It's been a couple of years, but
10 years in the making.
Yeah.
It's just another day.
It's not something you do all of a sudden. But I think it's going to take me about a month to probably get to Windhoek, because I'm going quite along the coast, sort of coastal routes, not all along the main road, because it gets a bit noisy and it's too many trucks.
Taking the scenic option.
I take the scenic route and the sort of more difficult road.
Okay.
But it'll take me about a month till there, and then I'll probably stay there about a week or two, and then go up to Rundu where they're actually drilling, and that'll take about a week or so.
Jeez. And is every day a cycle? Or you got some down days that you got in there, you can take the view as well?
I try and schedule a day off, but it doesn't always work that way. So it depends where I am or where I get stuck or...
Got to deal with the curveballs. What makes you nervous about taking something like, despite what you've got to face when you get to your destination and the real job begins, what do you have to be mindful of when taking on a journey like this? Because you're out there this is all you got, man.
Yeah, I think that's something you've got to think about. You don't want anything to go wrong, and you don't want to injure yourself.
Yeah.
That was the thing I had when I first started cycle touring in 2009. I went up to Sabi, and that's great mountain bike territory, and I was big into mountain biking. And I met these guys who were doing the Sabi Challenge, and they said, come along, I'm going to show you these nice trails, and went along with them, and I said, I can't do this, because if I fall, that's the end of my touring.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I just can't do this. So you got to look after yourself, look after your bike, and
So, I mean, what's
going on there?
There's like so many questions. I want to ask, what's in the bag? What's in the blue?
This is something new. I mean, the Earth Ball thing was an idea. I was hoping that I would get it for Earth Day. I wasn't too sure it will make it, but it came the other day, and I was so chuffed.
So that's like your flag and the banner for this campaign, right?
I am actually having a flag made, but I had the Earth Ball anyway, because I wanted both.
And the micro herbs?
Nice.
What's going on there, buddy?
Yeah. That's actually my sprouts. It's lentil sprouts.
Lentil sprouts?
Yeah.
Is that sustenance for you?
Yeah, I say to people, that's my fuel tank.
That's so cool.
Oh, no. Like, I see what you did there.
That is awesome, man.
So eat it as I go, or just get some bread and peanut butter, put sprouts on, and a bit of syrup on top. And
you're on your way, man. I love that. Literally on your way. Finally, how can people support your efforts? What do you want to achieve with this? What do you need from the people that are now connecting?
Yeah, what I hope to achieve is when I get there, just speak to the people that are involved, whether it's people that are working for Recon Africa or people that are resisting them and the locals, and see what the mood is there, and just amplify that. Just bring some media attention, more media attention to them. I'm not the only one doing it, obviously. There's a lot of organizations, but I just want to be somebody on the ground that can actually go there physically and see them and stay there a while with them, not just sort of go in and come out again.
Yeah, man, and it's always appreciated as well, especially for you, Sven, when you're not just talking about this, trying to raise awareness, you're actually going there to sort it out yourself. And that first-hand experience is what I think everybody in the studio absolutely appreciates. So thank you for putting your human capital and investing it in such a positive cause, man. It's always so encouraging to see people using their vessel for something like this. So I can't thank you enough for your journey. And I think we're going to definitely be supporting you all the way.
No, well, we will amplify
support,
your amplification.
Really.
We need to get that out there, and I'm thinking, just to reinforce the Okavango, if that goes, it's gone, and that's one of the, that's irreplaceable. That is absolutely irreplaceable. Most importantly, stay safe, my friend. Stay safe on your bike, and we'll continue to support Sven in his efforts.
What I'm also doing is I'm getting people to sign my petition as I go along, so that it gets people involved as I'm going, so it's not just...
well, you got 2 signatures here, so let's bring it out. We'll sign that later in the day. And of course, Mzansi, stick around. You can follow Sven's journey as he goes all the way through to Namibia, the Okavango Delta. And maybe if you were ever to run into some payment issues, you might want to listen to this next insert, because this is going to give you some advice on where's my wallet? I don't know. What do I do? Let's find out.
No, but certainly
Sven is
payment
gold.
issues.
Sven is gold,
No,
right?
Sven is an icon, but I was just about to say now that payment issues are probably something he doesn't ever have to worry about when it comes to parking. I'll tell you this, I followed him for 10 kilometers on the highway on my way here.
With a car?
In my car, and he wasn't on his bike. But anyway, that's just like a side story. But during the ad break, I saw something else very interesting. I was scrolling through Instagram, guys, okay? And I swear I spotted Tomb Raider here in Cape Town. Jamie Lee Domberg.
What?
Is this you? Is this you? Are you this girl over there?
Oh, honey, yes, that is me.
I mean, look at
That
you
is Cedarburg.
enjoying the beauty of planet Earth. Dare I ask, how long do these hikes take?
So let me actually tell you the full story. We went to Cedarburg, of my friends and I, right? So initially I thought we were going to go to live our best life.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Cedarburg, just, braai, hang out, connect with people.
Yeah.
Was I wrong?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
It was a hiking trip. So
Oh,
when we
no.
got
So they
there-
didn't warn you about it?
Eventually, when we got closer to the time, they did warn us. Raul obviously warned us. So it was like 2 hours out of Cape Town.
Yeah.
We got there, we did a sunset hike, we did
look at that.
Stadsal Caves, we did those amazing things. And then the next day, the morning, we woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Where did you sleep?
In like little cottages.
Okay, you
Those
didn't sleep
beautiful
in a
cottages.
cave.
No, we didn't sleep in a cave. No, it wasn't that extreme.
Thank you for that.
And then we went on this beautiful hike where we got to see the arch and also just the cracks, the beautiful cracks. It took us about 10 hours to do it, but I got lost, my friend.
It took you 10 hours to do what?
10 hours to do the hike, the entire hike. It was beautiful.
Is that Lena, our producer?
That is Lena, our producer.
Shocking.
Yes. So we all did together. That's my tribe. That's my hiking tribe. 10 hours, my friend. But let me tell you the story
Okay,
as well.
how did you... Do you carry your purse? I mean, for me, the biggest thing would be, okay, 10 hours, you're in the middle of this arch or whatever it is that you're doing. Where's your wallet? Where's your purse? Where's your handbag? Like, how are you going to pay for things?
Okay, confession time as well.
Okay.
So the thing is, I never take my wallet with me. I never have my card with me.
Oh, so you're like, you like bum off people, eh?
I'm the friend that's like, guys, I really want a coffee, but I don't have my wallet. But here's the thing. So Raul's girlfriend, she's actually listed as a beneficiary on my account. So whenever we go to these places, I'll be like, Mel, can you please just buy me a coffee and then I'll EFT the money to your...
Do you ever EFT the money? Because I know friends like you say, I'll EFT the money, and then
I'm
you
not
wait a
you to be
fortnight
so.
later, still waiting for the EFT to happen.
But
I know
my friendship as well. So sometimes I'll just be like, Mel, you know what? Next time I'll stick you for a coffee. It didn't happen.
Probably owe Mel a lot of money.
You're rude.
Yeah.
You're rude.
You probably owe her a lot of money. But listen, I know a lot of people enjoy being outdoors. I'm not one of them, but Jamie is. And going for long runs and mountain walks, carrying cash can be a massive safety risk. I mean, let's be honest, who wants to be carrying cash on top of a mountain?
Indeed.
And as you know, Nedbank have enabled Apple Pay in South Africa, which means that you can now load your bank cards to your Apple devices like your phone or your watch. And literally what you do is you just tap to pay, just like that. No cash, no card, no wallet needed. It's safety and convenience at its best. And you don't have to ask Mel to transfer money anywhere. To get your Nedbank card set up, then you can go into nedbank.co.za/Apple Pay for all the full rundown. Please pay Mel now.
I'm going to. I'm actually just going to use my watch now to pay next time. But
Good.
Thank you. Thank you, Mel. Thank you.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. You're still opening up with S3 on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Happy Earth Day to all of you. Now, we have an interesting story right now. A new mural is in the works in the community of Fishhoek to raise awareness and also warn community members and visitors about the very real climate change that is taking place right now. The artwork is led by Cape Town-born artist based in Muizenberg, Claire Homewood of Care Creative, and she is here this morning to tell us more about this amazing initiative. So very good morning to you, Claire.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
It's so good to have you. I'm sorry, I'm always excited when I get to talk about such cool things, and this is really cool. I mean, we're talking about climate change. We're talking about an incredible mural that's not just a mural, but there's a hope that this actually does something more. What is that agenda for you, and what was the idea behind this?
Yeah, putting a painting into public space is always an interesting thing. So it's about creating conversation and about people being able to interact with ideas that they might not be thinking about or come across in every day. So this painting is about sea levels rising and the idea that if a baby was born in this year, or if a child was about 1 year old now, sea levels are where they are. By the time they're 30, where are projected sea levels going to be? And by the time they're 80 years old, where are sea levels going to be? So the characters on our painting are actually showing this progression and where we're looking at in terms of projected sea levels.
And you can see it's more than just a painting, it's more of a warning sign about what is happening right now. This is amazing that you're creating awareness around this, but what are you hoping to achieve with the story and with this mural?
We're hoping to achieve conversation. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with climate change? It's kind of an unknown thing, but are we thinking about it? Are we talking about it? Are we making plans? How resilient do we think we're going to be if a storm, suddenly takes out, all the low-lying areas of Cape Town? Are we ready for that? What's the plan with the coastline? So who knows? But more it's about conversation and thinking about how we are living on this planet. How are we interacting with the natural environment? It's not all about humans. It's really thinking about the bigger picture.
The bigger picture. And I think also the conversation goes beyond like just adults. And it goes towards everybody, and especially when you're talking about the future. And I mean, the question for you is, what was the reason then for, I'm assuming there's a reason why you intentionally included children.
Yeah.
You got some school kids, I think, from Komeki. You got some people from Fishhook as well, getting involved in the mural as well. More than just helping hands. I'm sure there was a reason behind that, right?
No, we've been working together as a team, been painting over a couple of weeks, so it's been about a process as well, and getting to know each other and building into the painting a collective vision. So it's not just about me being an artist putting my idea on a wall, it's about creating something that's from the group. And it was very important with this theme that we also give the youth the platform. This is about thinking into the future. What does it look like in 140 years' time? Are we decision making now with 140 years in the future in mind, or are we just thinking, okay, quickest profit, let's go, because that's not going to get us very far.
I love what you're saying then. I just got to comment on that because it seems like that was the pattern that got us here in the first place. If I go back to the 70s and when we were in that revolution of just creating and making profit, we weren't thinking about
the 80s.
Future. Yeah, or the 80s as well. So, I mean, if you look at it now, I think it's so great that you, not forcing, but encouraging this conversation from such a young age already so that we know from the time that we want to impact this earth in our teens and our early 20s that we're thinking about the environment when we do so, and I don't think that was always the case for people at my age growing up as well, so thank you for that.
Youth have to realize that we're all citizens and we have to take that step into being active citizens, and giving a voice to the youth is super important. It's vital.
Oh, absolutely. I also believe there's going to be a QR code on the mural. Tell us a bit more about that and what benefits that's going to have.
So it's a painting, so it's a visual, experience. People will be able to walk up to the painting, look at it, be like, what is going on here? And then kind of figure out, okay, there's a graph, we've got numbers, we've got looking at sea levels, but then there's also going to be information, a web link and a QR code, so people can scan it with their phone. The city is hosting the web link, the web page, and on there is going to be a whole lot of information about climate change, about environmental actions that we can take in our homes, in our lives, what we can do about, working towards a more sustainable and resilient existence, and also links to all the organizations that have been part of the project, like WESA and 350.org Africa. So you'll be able to explore kind of the partners of the project and find out a lot more information.
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you enough, Claire Homewood, obviously joining us this morning, sharing this incredible mural and the message behind it, of course. And you can find out more about the story. It's Care Creative, sorry. And you can see all the incredible stories and the murals behind this. And get down to Fishhook if you can and get involved with this, because I think it's such a beautiful piece, a beautiful talking point, and a beautiful piece of action that we need to take into the future. So thank you for that, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, team. It's just after 7 o'clock. Time for us to take a look at those news headlines, starting off here in South Africa. The intended strike by the South African Municipal Workers Union, SAMWU, at Rand Water has been called off, pending a ruling by the Labour Court yesterday afternoon. This after the water utility lodged an urgent court application to interdict SAMWU members from embarking on an indefinite strike over performance bonuses. Rand Water is crucial for the economy as it supplies Gauteng's 3 metropolitan municipalities, local municipalities, mines and other industries, as well as parts of Mpumalanga, Northwest and Free State, with an average of 3,653 million litres of potable water daily. South Africans will now be going to the polls for local government elections on Wednesday, the 27th of October 2021. The presidency announced this date in a media statement last night. This will be the 6th time under South Africa's democratic dispensation that voters will elect leadership and public representatives at metropolitan, district and local level. The confirmation of the date ends speculation as to whether there would be a postponement of elections as proposed by certain opposition parties. In international news, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned the West not to cross a red line with Russia, saying such a move would trigger a rapid and harsh response. The warning came in his annual State of the Nation address amid heightened tension with the West over Ukraine and jailed Putin critic Alexei Navalny. Anti-corruption campaigner Navalny is being treated at a prison hospital in Vladimir, some 180 kilometers east of Moscow. He is on a hunger strike and his allies say his life is in danger. Chad's main opposition parties say the army's appointment of President Idriss Déby's son as the nation's new leader is, quote, an institutional coup. 68-year-old Déby, who had been in power for 3 decades, died after being shot as he fought rebels on the front line. Mohamed Idriss Déby Itno headed the presidential guard and will now lead the country for 18 months until elections. Constitutional experts say that the Speaker of Parliament should take over when a sitting president succumbs before organizing elections. And next, an incredible story of an Aussie surfer and his board, Australian Danny Griffiths. A big wave surfer was surfing at Pedra Branca, a famous big wave break at the southern tip of Tasmania, when he lost his favorite board. Gone forever, he thought. But 4 years later, he had the shock of his life when the board had been discovered by 2 brothers near Townsville in North Queensland, some 2,700 kilometers away. It had drifted at sea for thousands of kilometers, basically from the bottom end of Australia to the top, potentially via New Zealand. And despite its incredible journey and being covered in barnacles, the big wave rider says that the board is still 100% surfable. And Danny said that the brothers had held on to the board for years until this year when their parents took a trip to Tasmania and mentioned the rare find to local residents who realized it belonged to Danny. Now, the Queensland brothers are due to mail the board back to him soon, and he says he can't wait to be reunited with his beloved big wave board. That's where we leave it for now. Here's a look at what's happening in the world of sports with Graham.
Thanks so much, Debiso. Let's kick it off with rugby. Dual Rainbow Cup tournaments with no cross-hemisphere fixtures have now been announced after the South African teams have not been granted the required permission to travel to the UK and Ireland. Despite exploring multiple efforts to get the South African teams to travel safely to Europe, Pro 14 Rugby and SA Rugby will now have to operate dual tournaments. The full fixture schedule for the Pro 14 Rainbow Cup, including kickoff times and broadcaster information, is going to be released in due course. On to cricket. An unbeaten 63 from Johnny Bairstow helped the Sunrisers Hyderabad to their first win of the 2021 Indian Premier League season. Sunrisers recording a 9-wicket victory over the Punjab Kings at the Charambaram Stadium in Chennai. Then in other IPL results out of yesterday, Chennai Super Kings, they've moved to the top of the IPL table. That was after beating the Kolkata Knight Riders by 18 runs in Mumbai. Continuing his form, South Africa's Faf du Plessis was named man of the match, smashing an unbeaten 95 from just 60 deliveries, hitting 9 fours and 4 sixes. There'll be one IPL fixture today, and that's the Royal Challengers Bangalore up against the Rajasthan Royals, kicking off at 4 p.m. Plenty of midweek soccer action to recap, and of course in the Premier Soccer League, it continued last night with some big wins, some major scalps for Cape Town City FC and Golden Arrows. While defending champions Mamelodi Sundowns, they were held against AmaZulu FC in the top of the table draw. So Tashreeq Morris and Bradley Relani, they led Cape Town City FC to a 2-1 win over Kaizer Chiefs. And Golden Arrows, they continued their fantastic away form with a 1-0 win over SuperSport United. Sundowns and AmaZulu and Black Leopards and Stellenbosch FC all playing out to goalless draws in their respective fixtures. And we can look forward to the PSL action resuming tomorrow. Then local teams in action still, but and on the continent, Soweto Giants, Orlando Pirates, they were held to a goalless draw against Algerian club ES Setif at the Orlando Stadium. Stadium. That was in their CAF Confederations Cup fixture yesterday. The Buccaneers took one step closer to the Cup quarterfinals despite failing to break the deadlock at home. Regardless of that draw, the Bucks retained their unbeaten record. That means they're now top Group A with 9 points. Then a little further afield, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, they've moved back up to 11 points clear at the top of the Premier League standings. That was after sealing a 2-1 win over Aston Villa at Villa Park late last night. Goals by Phil Foden and Rodri securing the win for the Sky Blues. Other results, Ryan Mason, the youngest manager in the league, in fact, got his campaign underway with a winner as Tottenham Hotspur came from behind to beat Southampton 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, thanks to goals by Gareth Bale, who got a rare start, and Son Heung-min from the penalty spot. And then in the Premier League tonight, it's Leicester City up against West Bromwich Albion. That one kicks off at 9 p.m. We'll touch on those headlines again at 8 o'clock. Right now, chance to look at some of your beautiful sunrise pictures and get the latest on the weather front.
Thank you so much, Mr. G-Man, but also thank you to each one of you that took the time to share your sunrise view with us this morning. I have to say, it really is a great way to start the day. Now, here I am for your 7 a.m. update, and we received this glorious golden image of the sun rising over the harbour in Richards Bay from one of our regular contributors, Fatah Khan. Now, Richards Bay, today you can expect a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius with times of sun and thunder showers coming through. Another one received from Priscilla Nomdo, who shared this beautiful and yet moody image of a cloudy skyline over the ocean in her area. Very beautiful as well. Now, of course, if you too would like to be featured during our sunrise segment, it's really very simple. What you have to do right now is head on over to the Expresso Facebook page to share your sunrise photo with us. And who knows, you may just see your photo here next time. Now, not to forget our international viewers who tune in via the YouTube and the Africa channel, we now head to Stamford, Connecticut to give you a brief forecast for your day ahead. Now, Stamford has a temperate climate with long, hot summers and cool to cold winters, with precipitation spread fairly evenly throughout the year. If you are in the city of Stamford today, you can expect a windy and chilly day reaching a maximum of 10 degrees Celsius. In other news, rubble was still scattered along Luanda's streets yesterday as residents took stock of damage, wading through water-drenched patches of land. Now, this as flash floods triggered by torrential rains in Angola have killed at least 14 people and displaced some 8,000 in the capital. Most of the victims were either crushed by debris or electrocuted. Bridges and homes collapsed as hours of heavy rain fell on the ocean-facing city, swamping streets and sweeping away cars and trees. Several houses had caved-in roofs and collapsed brick walls. Now, heavy downpours are not unusual in Angola during the African country's rainy season, because in January of last year, 41 people died and more than 300 homes were destroyed by flooding, which affected more than 2,000 families. Right now, it's time to bring it back home and have a second look at the temperatures for today. We kick it off with Polokwane. Do expect a low of 11 today and peaking at 25. If you find yourself in Umbombela, your range is 15 to 30. Pretoria, it is 14 to 24. And for you, Johannesburg, expect a low of 12 and a high of 22. Mahikeng 9:26, Klerksdorp 10:26, Kimberley for you it is 11:26, and then Bloemfontein coming through with a low of 8, peaking at 25 today. Richards Bay, do expect some thunder showers coming your way, ranging from 17 to 29. Pietermaritzburg, rain coming your way as well, with a low of 12 and a high of 26. South Africa's playground at Durban ranges from 19 to 26 today. Mthatha, thunder showers also coming your way, ranging from 12 to 23. East London 17:21, Craddock 9:26, Gqeberha 17:23. If you're out and about in George, do expect a low of 14 and a high of 23, and the mother city coming through with a low of 12 and a high of 24. Worcester 13:31 rather, Sutherland 8:24, and then last but definitely not least, Uppington showing off today with a low of 14, peaking at 31 today. Happy Earth Day to all of you, but remember to keep it locked right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Yeah, do keep it locked right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Hey, it's Earth Day, so no matter what the weather's looking like in your part of the country, you've only got one choice, one option only. to make it a feel-good type of day. We asked you this question on social media this morning, what you are doing, what your bit is that you are doing, of course, to help with the efforts towards making sure that we get that earth restoration.
Yeah, let's see what the people say. Tubbs, you've got Lesaja Peter Mfoko says, by cleaning our rivers and dams, cleaning up schools to create a better environment for kids. Wow, that is not an easy task, and thank you so much for doing that.
It's those small steps, right?
Yeah, well, that's not the smallest step, it's a big one. Cleaning a river and a dam, that's huge.
Yeah, I've done it many times before.
Have you? And then Gabriella Ray says, I never use plastic bags. Yes, 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 reduce your plastic, I love that.
Good lady.
And I do regular beach cleanups, and it's so sad and disgusting to see the amount of pollution we create. But hey, let's go mess up another planet rather. I love that, and I think it's a good message to remind us of how much plastic we're using and where it eventually ends up. It's always in the ocean, it's always in our dump sites, and it's always getting charred by animals. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Daphne Nunele says... Nunele. She says, in my small way, I recycle all I can and try to keep all areas litter-free. Daphne, yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Well done. That is beautiful. You see, we all can play a role. There's always that one thing that you can change about how you're approaching your approach to Earth that really can save the planet. So do continue to share with us. Remember that also important hashtag Expresso Show.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, a superhero's intro music. He must be a superhero, the right man to help us save the planet. All jokes aside, we are turning our focus onto the state of our planet today, being Earth Day, and some of the issues we are grappling with in environmentalism can be addressed by legislation, need to be addressed in such a way. Luckily, we've got the legal guidance of our friend and expert, our superhero in law, director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, who also happens to sit on the board of the environmental conservation NGO Green Pop, who of course we introduced you to earlier. So today the question is, I want to legally protect my environment. So now what?
So now what?
So now what?
Great question, great topic.
Does nature have any rights?
It's a very interesting topic, a very interesting question, and kind of differs all over the world, country to country, and it's an ever-evolving topic that we're looking at now. So in South Africa, no, the environment doesn't have intrinsic rights, or aspects of it do, but a lot of the way we look at the environment is duties that are on us as people to protect the environment. So if you look at our Constitution, it's built right into the Bill of Rights. Section 24, we all have the right to a clean and healthy environment, And the state, the government, has the obligation to create laws in order to protect our environment. So they do that. There's land planning laws. You're not allowed to just build wherever you want. If you want to be building, you have to get environmental assessments. There's rules around natural resources like mining and gas, and these are managed aspects. There's laws around protecting conservation, and we have a whole legislative framework in South Africa called NEMA, the National Environmental Management Act, which says what we are supposed to do to protect our environment.
And we are blessed to have NGOs like Green Pop and a host of individuals out there driving this legislation, making sure that the government is being held accountable to protecting that. Are we protecting the flora and the fauna? Does it extend to kind of all spheres?
Yeah, 100%. So it's interesting. If you look at fauna like trees and plants, they are protected. Some are protected. If you ever see milkwood trees, you're not just allowed to cut down milkwood trees. They're protected trees. And if we look at something like the fire that happened, this terrible fire that happened this week, you know, what the city and what the country is supposed to be doing, and does in many ways, is to look after our environment in a way which stops it from burning down. So definitely plants and nature and the fauna is definitely protected. When it comes to animals, it's a super interesting one. It's one that's quite close to my heart. This was actually what I used to do before I was a commercial and startup lawyer. I worked in this field. So animals don't have intrinsic rights like me and you. We have the right to water, the right to housing. Animals don't have it. They're seen as property in the eyes of the law, so we own them. And the legislative framework is about animal welfare. So what do we have to do to look after our animals? So if you've got a pet or if you own a farm, there are rules that you have to do in how you treat them. But this can change and is changing in some places to give animals actual intrinsic rights, which offers them better protection.
Maybe this is more of an opinion than a factual answer that I need, because you have clearly a very good perspective on this. Are we getting it right in South Africa? Is the legislation here standing up to where we need to be, seeing as this is Earth Day and we're all looking globally at what we need to do to protect the environment?
For sure. It's a good question. Maybe the guys from Green Pop might be better suited to answer it. How we is it working? I mean, we can look around us every day and decide some things work really well, some things don't work well enough, and this is something which we need, you know, with everything in society, we need to address the things that don't work well. But the international point is an interesting one, because you can never look at environmental laws in a microcosm. Because if we pollute the air here, or if they're polluting the air in America or Europe, the air is polluted and it's going to affect all of us. More than that, conservation areas span borders. So if you look at the north of South Africa, we've got the Kalahari National Park, which crosses a border with Botswana. So countries do need to relate to each other in order to protect the environment. This is a global problem. Something like COVID is another example. If we have environmental factors, it's going to affect the whole world. So countries all around the world need to be making treaties. They need to be deciding on how to act together in order to make sure that, you know, the world doesn't burn in, you know, 100 years' time, whenever scientists say it's going to.
Yeah, exactly. That number seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Unbelievably interesting topic to look at through your eyes. So thank you so much for that. We're going to continue this discussion. We are looking at the laws and legislation as that applies to protecting our environment. Why? Because it's Earth Day.
And do you need any other reason than Earth Day? Yeah, and today obviously marks that day, and it's a day where the world will come together for 3 days of climate action to restore our Earth and hopefully make those 3 days extend for the rest of our lives. But one way we can help restore our Earth is by reducing our carbon footprint and by starting your very own garden. Yeah, so growing your own garden vegetables can be so rewarding, but making sure you cut out harmful chemicals and help out our pollinators is also as vital. So yeah, to teach us about gardening, organic growing, is Kashif Tufi, and he's the founder of KT Grows Organic, and it's an organic farm based in Philippi. And can I tell you, Jamie and I are so excited for this. Kashif, good morning, my man. How are you doing?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm so good. This is like one of the best kitchen segments ever. I'm here for it, man.
Well, it's to be understood because it's all organic.
Yes.
Yeah.
No pesticides, all natural.
I love that. You're going to be obviously teaching us how to grow our own organic farm or organic garden this morning, but maybe you can tell us a bit about your story and what got you into this.
So COVID came, which is last year, bored out of my mind, nothing to do. I'm in the construction industry. I'm one of the members of KT Constructs. And a friend of mine actually told me that I should consider just planting some seedlings, seeing that I'm so bored. And yeah, that's what I did. And that's how it started, to keep myself occupied and also then to give people the opportunity then to come and harvest their own organic vegetables on our farm.
Oh man, and what an opportunity that was. A little silver lining coming from last year's chaos. And from what I'm looking at here, it looks like you've produced some things. Those seeds have now actually harvested into something incredible. I'm always so impressed when I see organic veg because the smells for me are so different to what you sometimes see in the market. The colors, the textures. There's life in front of me, and this is something that will excite me so much. I would probably want to do my own garden. And if I was, I mean, where on earth do we start? Where do we begin with this whole journey? I mean, it can be quite overwhelming if you look at it.
Yeah, the important thing about organic farming is looking after soil biology and diversity. So if we were interested in looking after the plant, I think that we would lose sight of the objective. The plant requires good, healthy soil in order to produce a good plant that's healthy to us. And so by looking after the soil, we produce good food.
Okay.
And so what is the soil that I'm referring to? So all our kitchen waste and scrap, we can convert that into compost. And there's actually that's more beneficial to the plant than anything else. And so in that, I mean, this is what gets produced. And look at that broccoli on there.
I was just going to say, I've never seen...
I want to take that home.
Can I pick this up?
Yeah,
this thing
sure.
is huge, and it's quite heavy too, I'm not going to lie. I actually can't pick it up, it's massive. Let me try this. Whoa! Look at this, Mzansi. This is a picture of beauty. It looks like a bouquet. Jamie, do you take this green rose?
Yes, you're right. This is probably Nature Girl's dream.
This would be my proposal bouquet for sure.
This is how it's going to be.
However, I'm not going to allow you to do that because I've grown it. You're going to have to grow your own.
I'm going to have to do it myself. So, I mean, take me through some of the processes when it comes to, obviously you mentioned soil, which is the food when it comes to these beautiful babies over here. But how do we then make sure that that soil remains healthy, remains good food for the food that we eventually would want to eat? So how do we make sure that the plants are getting all that nutrition that it's going to get it to that organic beauty that we have over here?
Well, if we take, there's actually 4 components that's required in terms of producing compost. One is green matter, which is like grass clippings, anything that's green. Brown matter, which is your carbon. The green matter is the nitrogen, is your carbon. Carbon is anything which is brown, like your leaves, cardboard, shredded paper. And if you combine those two together in a simple form, like 50% in terms of volume, you add water and air, oxygen. If you turn that and water regularly, you're going to be producing compost over time. And then we plant in that. It's really as simple as that.
I think, Kash, if you're playing it down, because you're making it sound so super simple.
It is super simple.
Okay.
And so when we look at things as being complicated, it deters us as people to actually engage in it, because before even doing it, we've already failed. But if we simplify things, and honestly, it is simple.
I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned the water obviously plays a huge important role to growing your garden. Is there a certain technique, a slow technique that you have to introduce in order to make it better?
Once you've produced the compost, all the minerals and vitamins are in the compost. And so we plant directly in compost. And so all the food for the plant sits in there, and the plant absorbs or draws the food from the compost. Importantly is that also that the compost gets covered with mulch. And so mulch is also water retention. It keeps weeds down. There's less competition for the plants. And then just water regularly and just watch your plants like you would look in the mirror and look at yourself. Look at the plants and see what they're doing. Is there anything there that you don't like about it? And then just do a bit of research and then just take the action to bring about the beauty.
I like that.
You know, bearing in mind that we want to keep it organic.
Yeah.
Because it's all about protecting the environment, protecting the earth, protecting the world, and creating a world that's actually sustainable and everlasting, not just for us, but for the offspring to come.
I like this conversation. I like the fact that we're talking about soil and soil as an environment, a healthy environment that promotes a healthy outcome. And I think that's exactly what we're talking about now. So this is something I want to tap into a little bit later with Kashif. And I know we have more time for you. So Mzansi, stay tuned because Kashif's going to be going through some of the tips and tricks to making your own compost at home. And that's happening a little bit later. So stick around.
Here's to you, Mzansi. Combine multiple loans into one with one affordable repayment. Get a Nedbank personal loan. Apply at nedbank.co.za/personal loans.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
I don't know why I want to puff out my chest whenever I hear that intro music. Yep, the man is here. And we are continuing our discussion with our lawyer and good friend and director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, as he breaks down the legal ins and outs of how to protect our environment and our planet, being Earth Day. And he is being joined this morning by a facilitator and educator at Green Pop, Damien Hewitt. And of course, Green Pop, an NGO that focused on the greening and restoration, if you will, of our environment and doing some amazing work. And you actually sit on the board. So you guys kind of know each other. You're in the, hood, man. You know. Damien, I'm going to start with you. Thank you so much for sticking around and for kind of spreading the message that you are. I'm interested to find out what regulatory body you work under. What defines the work that you do? And how do you guys engage with, now that we know that the government essentially and the state is in charge of the laws that protect our nature, how do you guys engage with them?
So Green Pop is an NPC, which is a not-for-profit company. We also have a PBO status, which ensures that the work we do is in alignment with benefiting South African communities. We have worked with governments in the past, predominantly with the city parks in the greater metropole area on urban greening projects. And the Western Cape governments have been key supporting funders in driving a culture of sustainable events in the Western Cape.
So do you get funding from that side?
Yes, for particular projects, and great support from the Western Cape government has been supplied. Also, we have a partnership with Cape Nature from an environmental education perspective on a couple of the restoration projects that we've facilitated in the past.
I posed this question to Eitan as more for his opinion than a legal perspective, and I want the same from you. Are we getting it right? Is the right kind of legislation there to protect nature, and what are the benefits for having, yes, we've got this will, yes, we've got great organizations and champions. We need the laws to back it up. What are the benefits for having the legal structure and framework to work within?
It's an interesting one. You know, human rights are so implicated in environmental rights. And, you know, you ask what the benefits are. The benefits are going to come back to us. A healthy environment benefits a healthy society. Simple example, if we were to pollute a river over here that people relied on for drinking 200 kilometers downriver, we wouldn't only be damaging and threatening ecosystems along the way, we'd be threatening human health further down the line. So environmental rights works hand in hand with human rights.
They are the
we
same
would be
thing.
benefiting from a better structure with environmental rights.
So why aren't we doing more? Why are we not doing more? I'm sure this is a question that drives you every day of your life, but thank you for the work that you are doing in that space.
Thank you.
Maybe a good way to round this off is, what do we do if we feel like the rights of the environment in our belief are not being upheld? What do we do as citizens to inspire us on Earth Day?
Yeah, I'm going to pick up from what you're just saying. Why aren't we doing more is a great question, and it comes with so number one, it comes with an everyday culture, right?
Yeah.
Every time we go down to the beach, we see it covered in litter. Do we go and do we bring a bag with and pick up what we see? We don't, but maybe we need to start. You know, and I'm actually going to make a commitment. Every time I go to the beach,
I'm down with you.
I'm taking a bag with, and you know, so it starts with the culture. We need to teach our kids. We need to teach people, the society around us, to love the environment, the importance of it, and that's the only way. You know, government can only do so much. It's up to the rest of us. Secondly, if you do see something going wrong, you need to say something. You know, this fire that happened this week, they found the guys that started it, and it was because of a citizen that, you know, took his dog out for a walk and saw someone starting the fire. So, you know, there's eyes all around us. Also, I'm going to embarrass Damien. He's actually a volunteer firefighter and was out fighting the blaze earlier this week.
Thank you.
So yeah, it takes everyday people like Damien and the people at Green Pop to, you know, plant trees, to do their bit. We all need to do our bit. Eat one less hamburger. Eat, you know, everyone every day.
Stop using, you know, non-biodegradable baby wipes.
Totally. Every time you go for a coffee, you don't need the lid. If every person makes 1 or 2 efforts every day to be better for the environment, then we have a chance of keeping this world for a little bit longer. And the third thing is lobby groups. So the way that legislation changes is where the government sees it's a priority to people. So join a cause, join something like Green Pop. Be part of some organization which is pushing government in order to say, hey, we actually need more from you to protect our environment. So it's up to the government, it's up to us, and it's up to the organizations that are around us.
You might be a real-life superhero, dude. I can't believe you're a firefighter as well.
I'd have an amazing intro song.
And over weekends, you nurture babies.
I saw him petting a little baby dolphin 2 weeks ago.
It's crazy, man. I joke about it, but I know it's hard work. I know you've got to be really so motivated to drive other people to get that momentum going. So thank you so much for your efforts collectively. That was a fantastic discussion. Hopefully you are looking at nature through slightly different eyes, but the bottom line is it's one and the same thing. It's our planet. We live here. So our rights are nature's rights and vice versa. We have to protect ourselves and our planet for future generations.
Yeah.
It is our planet. We do live here, but we also want to make sure that future generations can live here and enjoy all of the beauty that it's got to offer. But now that we know how to grow our own vegetables, it's time to cook them and cook with them. Food influencer Taylor Inez Naker joins us in the kitchen this morning to share another recipe that is not only easy to prepare, but also great to freeze for your weekly meal prep. And we know that meal prepping has become so popular for so many people in many households. Stews, for example, are always so handy to pop into a pot straight from the freezer and then serve it with, you know, warm, crusty bread, for example. What could be more comforting? Absolutely nothing. Can't think of anything right now. Taylor, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
I mean, the first time I saw you on screen and you were making food earlier on,
yes.
I just walked in and I thought, wow, I didn't know Shekinah was good in the kitchen too. What a multi-talented girl, a vocalist and a foodie.
I'm telling you.
But that's not you. That's not who you are today. You're making something interesting with the vegetables.
I'm going to be making a vegetable stew. So when I say stew, I think of a hug from the inside, warm.
Oh, yeah.
Winter's coming up, so let's get to it.
Let's get to it.
Right.
What are we going to need?
So you're going to need either oil or a spread of some sort.
So today we're making use of that spread there.
This one here.
Classic, great.
So you're going to use about a tablespoon.
You want to make sure what's the heat level that you're
going to
going
put
for
your
there?
pot on about medium to high heat.
Medium to high. Which is that important when making a stew? Because I often find I can get it so wrong, and I don't cook often. But during the times that I do, it's often been the fact that I've got the heat too high that I mess up the thing.
So you'll start off with a medium to high heat, and as you go along, you'll reduce the heat so that your vegetables, so your vegetables cook through.
I increase the heat.
Top tip.
Okay, so top tip is gradually reduce as it heats up, and you will see, I suppose, in the sort of makeup of your vegetables that it's actually getting the right heat that it needs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. So then we're gonna add in our onions. So
Great.
chop your onions. They don't have to be chopped finely. I mean, you don't want big chunks.
Yes, you don't want to be chewing into a big piece or block of onion. It's not anyone's idea of a great stew.
Yes. So you'll put that in there and allow those to sort of soften up for about 3 to 4 minutes. Lovely.
Yeah.
Once we're like good with that.
Yes.
You've got carrots
Yeah.
and celery.
Stunning.
So we add in some celery.
Carrots are like the princess of all stews. Hey, I find
agree.
whatever the stew is, you throw in the carrot.
agree.
She brings it all to life.
And
I
my
love
mom
it.
used to tell me that the more carrots I eat, the longer my hair is gonna grow. So
And she wasn't lying, because look at your hair. I mean, you know, it's up to here. And clearly I need to eat more carrots because, wow, it's not working out for me.
So you're gonna let that simmer for about another 5 to 6 minutes because you want your... The thing with vegetables is they have quite a vegetable-y taste. You
Yes.
want to sort of cook that down.
You want to neutralize it.
You know what I'm
want
saying?
to neutralize it.
Exactly. So stir. You don't want your onions to burn. Get that going.
And when it comes to like a vegetable stew, are there like absolute must-have vegetables, or can someone use their own vegetables, whatever they've got in the house, whatever they can grow and sort of pick out of their garden, they can hoy into a pot?
I'd say to be careful, especially if you're wanting to freeze something like a stew, because a lot of vegetables don't freeze well.
Okay.
So I'd go for something firm like pumpkin,
Yes, because then it can
butternut.
freeze.
Yes.
It can sit
Sweet
in the freezer for a
potato,
long time.
For sure.
Got you.
Cool.
Got you. Okay.
So once this is sort of simmered down, we're going to add in our garlic.
Perfect for the season.
Crushed garlic, minced garlic.
Garlic is
life.
The theme of the season. Garlic, ginger, don't forget those two.
Then we've got some thyme, fresh thyme.
Yum.
So you're just gonna, I like to roll them around a bit just to get...
So that it spreads nicely, ne? Spreads across your pot there. Right.
Mix through. From here, you're going to add in your vegetable stock.
Stunning.
You could use a vegetable, chicken, whatever you're comfortable with.
Cool.
Really.
I would probably go for chicken because
Yeah.
I'm that guy. Listen, if you want this recipe, we've made it super, super easy for you. Go on our website. It's expressoshow.com. The recipe is loaded on there. We tell you exactly what you will need to bring this recipe to life. It's a stunning one because if you are the type of person that likes to do meal prepping and you want to prep for the week ahead or the next 2 weeks ahead, this you can simply freeze and hoy into your freezer. It'll last a while in there, and every single time you need it, you pop it out, just warm it up, and you're good to go. The final product looks absolutely amazing, and I imagine that's after you've put, what are you putting in there?
So this is some tomato paste. We're just gonna give it some nice
stunning.
flavor.
This is pumpkin.
Yes.
I love me some good pumpkin. We're going to get that pumpkin going in there, but this is what it looks like when it's all done. I'm going to have to taste it.
Do it.
Taylor, I'm going to taste it.
Do it, do it, do it.
Okay. You ready for the verdict?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah?
Splendid.
A hug from the inside.
Oh, a hug from the mouth and then from the inside. I love it. Can I ask you to do me a huge favor?
Yes.
Look into that camera over there and say, let's take it back to the beach. Because the city don't feel good no more. Do it. Don't be shy.
I don't want...
Don't be shy.
Let's take it back to the beach.
That's it. Get the recipe, expressoshow.com. This is made with all of the love, and it's going to hug you from the inside. And yes, you will be ready to take it back to the beach. back from the beach.
Oh, yes, we are home. I can't unsee it. Welcome back, everybody, but I can't unsee it. She really does look like she kind, right?
Totally does. Totally does.
Totally.
I have a sneaky suspicion that is literally Shakana.
Maybe it is. Who knows? But listen, we're also connecting with you on our social media platforms this morning. Of course, it is Earth Day, and we're asking you, how are you ensuring that the Earth is kept healthy, it is kept safe, and what are you doing to do this?
What's your bit? How are you contributing? Joan Cameron says, don't be a litter bug and don't buy balloons. They are a menace in our oceans, and that's where they usually end up. Also, don't buy plastic shopping bags at the till points in supermarkets. Take your own cloth bags or buy some. There's a great variety to select from, and another important reminder is don't forget to recycle.
Joan, you are the girl that you think you are.
You
Absolutely correct.
10 gold stars, Joan.
And then we have Karenza Waken Saunders saying, we recycle. It's so encouraging to see when we take a walk, my boys pick up things that can blow in the ocean. Consistency is doing the right thing that sticks. It's evident when they do it on their own. Beautiful. You're setting the example for the kids and just making sure that the planet stays safe.
Because kids will always follow what we do, right? So the example you set in your household for your kids, they're going to follow that. If you're always using balloons all over the house, like, come on, there's no need for that. There are many other ways to celebrate and deco. Your kids are going to do that too. And guess what? Their kids won't have a planet. I don't know. Is that something you want? I don't want that for my kids or your kids. Hashtag Expresso Show. Let us know how you are doing your bit to save the planet.
Yeah, we're doing our bit here on Expresso Show too, and we're going to help you do your bit at home, and especially if you've got your own garden. So earlier, we had Kashif Tufi, who is the founder of KT Grows Organic. Now, that's an organic farm based in Philippi, and he's here to tell us how to start our own organic garden in light of course, Earth Day. Now, keeping your garden alive and thriving doesn't only take love, care, and attention, but plants also need to eat too, just like us, yeah? So that's why compost is so vital to keeping your plants happy and nourished. Now, Kashif, we were chatting to you earlier, obviously, your farm, where you're doing such incredible work, you're educating everybody around you, you've got this incredible market, which I believe happens at the end of every month as well, which is talking about things like compost, things about organic solutions to living a better, sustainable life, man. But when it comes to being at home, excluding your farm, because I'm sure you're already doing this, is this something we can replicate in our own home, in our own garden?
Absolutely, Rhino. So just to give you some insight to what we have in our area, Kaapkraal, Philippi, in terms of soil which is native to the area, is that.
That over there. And that looks pretty common to me if I look around at gardens and houses and things. So it seems like the standard soil I would normally see, eh?
So if we plant directly in this, we're going to need lots of food, and the food which we use is obviously compost.
Yeah.
Commercial farmers, they try their best to provide it with as much compost as possible, but there are poisons which are used, and the poisons actually destroy the earth further and the soil.
So those poisons is what's damaging this earth and getting it to this state.
Yes.
Which kind of looks a bit to me like it's a bit dull and lackluster, not much nutritional.
So I'm going to ask you a simple question. If you were a plant, would you like to eat this or this?
So that would be like, I would look at that as like a dry slice of bread, and then this is like peanut butter, jelly, maybe toasted. It's got all the good stuff. So this is my meal over here.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So what we're going to be talking about now is how do we get to this point?
Yeah, and it's darker, it's a lot more moist. There's a lot going on in here, apart from like, what seems to just be like, now that I'm looking at this, that looks dead. I'm not going to lie, it just looks like, I don't know, not alive.
Yeah, it is. And it's very simple to get to this point. Every one of us in our homes, we have the ingredients to be able to create this, and this gets created from kitchen scraps. Okay. So the kitchen scraps are the nitrogen, right? And we have paper, newspaper, cardboard, which is the carbon. If you shred this down, or not necessarily shred it down, but just cut it up into smaller pieces, and you add 50% of this in terms of volume to carbon, which is your cardboard, your newspaper, dry leaves, which you spoke about earlier on. You put those two together, add a bit of water. You don't want it soaking wet, more damp, and then oxygen. Just turn it regularly.
So you're saying you're literally taking these offcuts and throwing them into your soil that you may have at home. Is that what you're saying?
You just create a little heap, and then you layer them carbon, nitrogen, water, carbon, nitrogen, water. And then add a bit of, if you have access to compost, add a bit of compost to that because it's good bacteria which will help break it down. If you don't have access to compost, come to our farm, we'll give you some compost that you can add into your mix. And then just a bit of water, regularly turning, and you create compost.
All right. So what are the different variations here? So obviously we've got what was and what the potential of it could become. What's happening in between here? What's going on here?
So we plant in direct compost, right, which is nutrient-rich minerals, vitamins for the plants. We then take mulch. And this mulch is actually your material. The material that comes from your garden, which you take to the local municipal tips, they shred it. It should actually be given back to us.
Okay.
And I do think that we should make effort to changing policy so that this material can become available to everybody so that we can contribute to saving our planet. We take the mulch, we cover the compost with the mulch. What the mulch does is it retains water, and it also allows for a fungi to develop underneath. And this fungi is very important for the plants because it takes water and minerals and sends it to the plant, which produces the beautiful, healthy foods which we eat.
So that's like a supplement, like an upgrade. And if we had mulch in then in theory, and we could throw it over most of our soil, that would literally invigorate a lot of the land that we have in our country, right?
Absolutely.
So why are we not doing this? Come on, Mzansi, let's get involved. This is a clear-cut solution. And for me, the question maybe is, why are we not farming this way as well? Why are we adding unnatural and unorganic pesticides? Is it just a matter of profit, or is it just a lack of education?
I think it's a combination of a lack of education and probably resources that's not available. And the resource that's not readily available is the mulch, even though it comes from our gardens.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were to make effort to changing policy so that this mulch can become available, we'll definitely be contributing to the world in a positive way.
I love that, man. Well, Kashu, thank you so much for sharing your magic with us and getting us one step closer to growing our own garden. It literally actually seems so simple. I mean, literally from our offcuts of veg, from dead soil and creating mulch, we can create some beautiful, beautiful compost, man.
I just want to add, and so this is actually what our compost looks like after we've planted. And you can see all this mycelia, there's roots that's growing there. So how does this develop? This develops as a result of a no-till system. We do not till the soil at all. By tilling the soil, we destroy the soil. All the micro, the little bugs and animals and earthworms, they all die because they don't want to be exposed to the sun. And so this is just rich in vitamins and minerals.
Rich in life and all that potential.
No tilling. It's very important that we don't till the soil. And so we regenerate our planet in that way. And it's based on the principles of regenerative farming.
Oh, listen, Kashu, I could chill and sit with you the entire day and get stuck in. And I think I'm going to. I think I'm definitely going to visit your farm, though, because that's where a lot of this education is happening. But you guys at home, let us know what you are going to be growing in your organic garden. And, of course, let us know and send some pictures on our social pages, because I think you're one step closer to being your own organic farmer.
Cool.
Welcome back as we continue our Earth Day. It's difficult to call it celebrations, commemorations, passions, drives. Our focus on our beautiful blue planets, and the blue being, of course, water, and that's our focus right now. Now, we have been keeping you up to date on all of the latest happenings in the world, and while doing so, we got to learn more about this particular process too. Now, recently news broke about Japan's plans to dump over 1 million tons of nuclear waste water from the Fukushima nuclear disaster into the ocean. This is obviously, to us, quite alarming.
Yeah, a bit of anger coming up as you even mentioned that, G. Now, this morning, we're chatting with Marika Musani. She's the CEO of the Two Oceans Aquarium Education Foundation, and she's here to discuss the Fukushima nuclear disaster, as well as what the actual ramifications might be from the plans to release this water into the oceans.
Marika, you've raised your eyebrows a couple of times in that discussion. First of all, can I say how nice it is to have you here in person?
It's so nice to be
so
here,
good to see you.
Especially on Earth Day, which is sort of Earth Day / Ocean Day.
I was
going to
say, kind of the ocean is the Earth, so we need, that's why I say, like the blue planet, because that's really at the heart of so much conservation at the moment and needs to be. I mean, we could talk to you for hours about so many different things, but we're going to focus on Fukushima, and maybe a good place to start is if you can take us back to the 11th of March 2011 and that devastating earthquake that led to the disaster. What actually happened on that day?
Yeah, it was definitely seen as one of the biggest natural disasters in history. And sort of mid-afternoon, there was this enormous earthquake, and it was sort of in the about 130 kilometers offshore in the northeastern side of Japan. And Japan, of course, is this incredible island. And an earthquake is when sort of the tectonic plates shift a little bit, and this causes like a massive vibration and this ripple effect to shore. So firstly, everything was shaking like crazy, and buildings started collapsing, and it was at a magnitude of 9, which is really high. But at the same time, because it was 30 kilometers under sea level, it created this tsunami. Now, in our heads, like, you think it's this massive big wave, and the big wave surfers are going to go mad on it, but actually it's the water, just this ripple causes the water to really move fast, and as it gets shallower to land, it's this wall of water, and it just pushes everything out of its way, and sea level rises. So, for instance, where the Daiichi power plant, nuclear power plant was, the sea level rose with 14 meters. I mean, that, if you just think that
that's our studio done, yeah.
So this is obviously built with that in mind, because Japan is exposed to a lot of earthquakes, and it was spec'd to be safe up to about 5.5 meter rise. So the biggest problem on that day, besides buildings collapsing and this massive water surge, I mean, 20,000 people died in this incident, and most of them drowned, and most of them were old people, like over the age of 65, which is really sad. But the structural damage to this part of Japan was, it was about $200 billion worth of damage. So it was a massive disaster. Then, of course, if we now head over to the nuclear power plant, what happened there is structurally it was okay-ish, but because of the water level rise, it flooded all the electrical works. And these plants shut down automatically with the earthquakes or any risk. And then it needs to still cool down, because it works at really high temperature. It works with steam turbines. So it sucks in seawater, heats it up with radioactive energy, and then you've got to cool this whole system again. So the electricity shut down because it flooded and it couldn't cool down, so it started melting, and that caused holes to burn into these containment tanks, and then radioactive water flew back into the ocean, but also into the soil. So it was land-based as well, and Japan reacted immediately and called for an evacuation, like 20 to 30 kilometer radius, where people just had to fled. And I went to Fukushima, and it was incredible, actually. and they had to try and sort of rebuild this place. And in Iwaki, which is a big town, and it's about 40 kilometers from the nuclear plant, they've got this amazing, it's probably one of the best aquariums in the world. And they had a little bit of warning, so they said to the staff, those who want to fled, go. And 70% of the staff decided, we're going to stay because we're going to look after the animals.
Yeah.
And they saved like all the marine mammals, the big, like the sea lions and things, but a lot of the tanks washed away and the fish washed away. All the cars in the car park washed away. And then they had to prioritize what are the essential services. They've got to rebuild community walls, rebuild the hospitals, and the aquarium was obviously last on the list. And then the community said, we need this aquarium put back
Part
together
of our DNA,
because we want to have this lovely space where we can, you know, enjoy ourselves. So they built it, rebuilt it in 3 months time, but they put really good monitoring programs in place. So Japan at the time voluntarily stopped fishing and said, just in case our marine life absorb all this nuclear energy.
Speaking of that, I mean, the irony of an aquarium being in danger because of the ocean is quite crazy in itself, but what is the danger related to should we be worried about now releasing this radioactive water into the ocean?
Yeah, so just if we think back to the time and the release of these, it's radioactive, basically little isotopes, and they're quite unstable little atoms, and the level that was introduced in the ocean, it rise, but it was never higher than sort of the worldwide standard. But Japan dropped their sort of maximum level and monitored it, and the fish was actually, they picked up some active contamination, but it was actually really low in the big scheme of things. And then by 2018 they said, now we can start the fisheries again and you can eat it again. So this water that they want to discharge is been purified, and it's a lot, like you mentioned, it's like over a million cubes. So, but they want to do it over 20 to 30 years. So when you decommission a nuclear power station, it takes up to 40 years. So most of the water has been purified. They want to discharge it back into the ocean, and they measure the radioactivity, and the unit that they measured it in is like microsieverts, and it's going to be like 0.8 microsieverts. And if you go for an X-ray, you're exposed to like, I think like 2
so we are safe.
So I'm not a nuclear scientist, disclaimer, but it's really well managed. My biggest problem with this, especially on this kind of a day like today, is the discharge of anything into the ocean shouldn't be allowed. You know, whether the risk is being mitigated or not. So don't discharge stuff into the ocean, just love the ocean.
I like the fact that regardless of the danger involved, we are talking about it and people are reacting, which is exactly what we need on Earth Day. Let's see if we can pick up any more Earth Day facts coming up in our news.
Thank you very much, team. Just after 8 o'clock, let's take a final look at those news headlines. South African National Parks, or SANParks, has praised the bravery and dedication of firefighters for their efforts to contain Sunday's destructive Cape Town blaze. Those involved in containing it included volunteers, the City of Cape Town Fire and Rescue Service, Table Mountain National Park Rangers, and even the Defence Force. SANParks CEO Fundisile Mketeni said the immediacy of the reactions of firefighting teams from all areas of the Western Cape, their skills, courage, and commitment ensured that the fire was mostly contained by Monday afternoon. The intended strike by the South African Municipal Workers Union, SAMWU, at Rand Water has been called off pending a ruling by the Labour Court yesterday afternoon. This after the water utility lodged an urgent court application to interdict SAMWU's members from embarking on an indefinite strike over performance bonuses. Rand Water is crucial for the economy as it supplies Gauteng's 3 metropolitan municipalities, local municipalities, mines, and other industries, as well as parts of Mpumalanga, Northwest and Free State, with an average of 3,653 million litres of water daily. In international news, Mozambique's President Filipe Nyusi says his government will work hard to restore peace in the country after a deadly militant attack last month near multi-billion-dollar gas projects backed by global oil companies. Militants attacked the coastal town of Palma close to liquefied natural gas projects meant to transform Mozambique's economy. France's Total called off the planned resumption of construction at its $20 billion project, and Exxon has yet to grant final approval for its nearby Rovuma LNG project. Newsy said peace is fundamental for the development of the project. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned the West not to cross a red line with Russia, saying such a move would trigger a rapid and harsh response. This warning came in after he delivered his State of the Nation address amid heightened tension with the West over Ukraine and jailed Putin critic Alexei Navalny. Anti-corruption campaigner Navalny is being treated at a prison hospital in Vladimir, some 180 kilometers east of Moscow. He is on a hunger strike and his allies say his life is in danger. And next, an inspiring story, a story of perseverance in the true sense of the word. 47-year-old Natasha of Belhar here in Cape Town is a woman to whom one doffs their cap. This mother of two once scrubbed floors but is today a primary school teacher. She was a former cleaner at the University of Western Cape, UWC, but now teaches at the Dr. van der Ros Primary School in Belhar. As a cleaner for some 9 years, she attended classes during the day, and her shifts as cleaner ran from 3 p.m. till midnight. And she did both at the same time, also working over weekends. Natasha says she was driven by her dream of being an inspiration in her community. And she adds, I quote, "I have learned that nothing is impossible, and where you come from or your background doesn't matter. There are too many young people without a vision." And she views teaching as the best manner of making a difference in the lives of young children. Her children and her mother are her biggest inspiration. UWC's Dean of Education, Professor Rajendran Govender, said Natasha was an industrious and dedicated student, always brimming with ideas to promote collaboration among her peers. What an inspiring story. Well done, Natasha. That's where we leave it for this morning. Here is a final look at your sunrise pictures with Jamie Lee.
Thank you, Uncle Tabsy, for that update, but also thank you to each one of you that took the time to share your sunrise views with us this morning. It really is a great way to start the day and our day here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, we started off the morning with this great image of a sky that was filled with blue and yellow hues shared by Daniel Mukhale. Donna Little also shared this moody, fresh morning view of the sky with the sun rising in the distance, casting its light through the clouds. Now, for your 7 a.m. update, we received this glorious golden image of the sun rising over the harbour in Richards Bay from, of course, our regular contributor Fatah Khan. And then last but definitely not least, Priscilla Nomdo shared this beautiful yet moody image of a cloudy skyline over the ocean in her area. Now, of course, if you too would like to be featured during our sunrise segment, all you have to do is head on over to the Expresso Facebook page to share your sunrise photo with us. And who knows, you might just see your photo here next time. Now, we love the fact that we also have a growing international audience who tunes in via YouTube, as well as the Africa channel, which broadcasts in the USA. Now, for your final international weather update of the morning, we are heading to Santa Monica, California. Santa Monica is a beachfront city which became quite famed as a resort town. A popular tourist site and well-known view is Pacific Park on the Santa Monica Pier. The famous Pacific Coast Highway also passes through Santa Monica, which spans over 900 kilometers of California's rugged and beautiful coastlines. Today, Santa Monica can expect a cool day ahead with times of sun and rain reaching a mild maximum of 16 degrees Celsius. And then now some great news, and some news also most appropriate for the celebration of Earth Day today, is that US President Joe Biden has succeeded in rallying the world on climate change. Just 3 months into office, Biden will today and tomorrow welcome 40 world leaders, including Russia and China, for a virtual Earth Day summit, which heralds a U.S. return to the climate front lines amid mounting worries over the rapid heating of the planet. Now, Biden, who is promoting a green-friendly $2 trillion infrastructure package at home, is expected to announce an ambitious new U.S. target for slashing emissions responsible for climate change over the next decade. China's President Xi Jinping is also expected to deliver, and I quote, an important speech at the meeting. On Tuesday, Britain announced the most ambitious target of any any major economy, saying it would slash emissions by 78% by 2035 from 1990 levels. Meanwhile, environmentalists are urging nations to take immediate action, not just make longer-term promises. And that is good news for all of us. Right now, here is a final look at the temperatures for South Africa. We kick it off with Polokwane. Do expect a low of 11 today, peaking at 25. Umbombela ranges from 15 to 30 today. Pretoria for you, there's a low of 14 and a high of 24. Johannesburg 12, 22. Mahikeng 9, 26. Klerksdorp ranges from 10 to 26. Kimberley 11, 26. And then Bloemfontein coming through with a low of 8 and a high of 25. Richards Bay, do expect some thunder showers coming your way, ranging from 17 to 29 today. Pietermaritzburg, rain also coming your way with a low of 12 and a high of 26. South Africa's playground, Durban, ranges from 19 to 26 today, and Mthatha 12, 23. East London 17, 21. Cradock 9, 26. Gqeberha 17, 23. And if you do find yourself in George today, expect a low of 14 and a high of 23. The mother city, Cape Town, ranges from 12 to 24. Worcester 13, 31. Sutherland 8, 24. And then last but definitely not least, Uppington ranges from 14 to 31. Whatever you do, remember to keep a lock right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Now, right now, it's also time to venture off into the final frontier with Dr. Daniel Kunama as we learn about space weather.
Space weather. How much do you know about it? I know absolutely nothing. And is it as reliable as the weather predictions here on Earth? Well, science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kunama, joins us to tell us all about it. And I've got to say, he is the right person to call because he has just been nominated for a communications award in his field, which is fantastic. Can I get a round of applause?
Thank you very much.
Buddy, congratulations. What is it actually for?
Thanks. Yeah, so it's for a Science Communication Award, basically for all of the work I've done, including this, but there's the podcast that I run and some of the other work that I do for the observatory. And it just sort of celebrates communication and science and technology in South Africa.
And you're awesome at it, dude. You have awoken in me a love of not just space, but of science. And I would imagine it's the same for a lot of people. So thoroughly, thoroughly deserved. So kudos to you, my friend. Well done. Now you're going to have to put that to the test, and you're going to have to communicate to me what space weather is. In fact, how can there be weather in a vacuum? What causes it? What is it?
Yeah, so it's not quite a vacuum, actually. So space weather, as we talk about it from Earth, is essentially particles from the sun interacting with our atmosphere. When we talk about weather on Earth, we're basically talking about the lowest 20 kilometers of the atmosphere. The atmosphere gets less and less dense as it goes higher and higher up. There's still some atmosphere hundreds of kilometers away from Earth. Now, from the sun, there's a constant stream of highly charged particles coming off the sun. It isn't just giving off light, and those particles interact with the upper parts of our atmosphere, and they cause space weather.
All right, so what are those phenomena? What are some of the things that we see in the sky and beyond as a result of the space weather?
So some of the most exciting ones are aurora. So you've all probably heard of aurora at the northern and southern poles. You get these streams of particles coming in from the sun. They're excited by the atmosphere, and they let off light, sort of green or red light, in these beautiful arrays of light which come in at the poles. And that's something called space weather. So that's quite a nice consequence of space weather. But some of the consequences can be not so nice. Because a lot of our satellites are sitting in the upper atmosphere, in the upper hundreds of kilometers, when the sun has highly charged particles interacting with that part of the atmosphere, it can disrupt the communications with these satellites. So our GPS satellites and things are at risk of space weather. And if there's really bad space weather, so if there's a big event on the sun which interacts with the atmosphere really badly, there have even been cases where the entire electricity grid on Earth has been knocked out.
Wow. Sounds like something out of a movie, actually, quite nerve-wracking. We were privy quite recently to what I'm told is a coronal mass ejection that was observed on Monday on the Sun. What is a CME, and does this present any danger to the Earth?
Yeah, so coronal mass ejection it's a pretty big thing. Sometimes they're, hundreds of times the size of the Earth.
Wow.
It's a big sort of plume of solar particles, or sun essentially, which gets ripped off the surface of the sun. And if one of those things ejects in our direction, then we get a huge stream of these charged particles coming straight towards us. And that can cause, in the best case scenario, spectacular aurora. In the worst case scenario, like I was saying, it can knock out the electricity grid, it can knock out satellites. These are very highly charged particles with, they interact with the magnetic field, they interact with the atmosphere, and they can cause quite a lot of disruption.
Can they turn people into superheroes?
That remains to be tested by science.
I'm glad you didn't close me off there completely. Some wonderful stuff. I'm certainly going to be looking up with a fresh pair of eyes, and I'm sure we'll get more updates to follow. But thank you so much. And as always, thank you for the role that you play on our show, and well done again for being nominated as you have. It really is thoroughly deserved and warranted. You do a fantastic job, my friend. Well done, and thank you.
Thank you, man, and thanks for always having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
Well, as we heard, not in immediate danger, but there are things happening just around our planet that we really do need to be aware of. So good to have someone like Dr. Daniel Kahneman there to give us a front row seat.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Every year on the 22nd of April, the world celebrates Earth Day. This immensely important day on the global calendar has been commemorated since 1970. And Earth Day reminds us how fragile our planet is and raises awareness of the importance of protecting the planet.
Now, this year on Earth Day, travel company Tikka recognizes the issues of sustainability around climate change and are doing what they can to make this world a better place. Joining us now via video call to discuss their climate action plan, please welcome Tikka's Sustainability Officer and European Operations Director, Tasha Hayes, all the way in London. A very good morning to you, Tasha.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on the show today, all the way from sunny London, and to talk about Tikka's two big announcements on Earth Day this year, which is that Tikka's going carbon neutral, and that will be operating carbon neutral trips as of the 1st of January 2022.
That is quite exciting. I mean, I really love that you guys are, leading the way and at least making a drastic change. Now, when it comes to a climate action plan, what exactly is that?
Well, it's a great question because I think climate action plans are generally quite complicated, and the way that we as a business are contributing to it as well is very complicated. So in order to shrink our contributions to the problem, we really need to know what that problem is and what the potential solutions for us are and what challenges we're going to face in doing so. And that's really where our climate action plan comes into place. And this plan applies to every brand at the Travel Corporation. So not just Tikka. I'm here to speak about Tikka, of course, but this will happen with Trafalgar, Insight Vacations, as well as our river cruising brand, Uniworld.
Tasha, I have one question for you. How exactly are you guys going to implement this?
A great question, because it's a big plan, and our plan is really based on 5 points, so we can really call them steps, and I'll walk you through all of them. But it means that we're going to commit to these 5 steps and that we're going to report on them every year as we progress forward as well. So really, the first step in all this is to measure, and you need to start from a base point and know where you're starting from. So we're measuring our emissions, both from our business as well as our trips. And then the second point is to reduce, which is super important. We want to build on those reduction efforts, and we want to set really ambitious targets by mid-2022. And then the third step is to remove. So through our Tread Right Foundation, we're investing in some new technologies and nature-based solutions that are going to remove excess carbon from the atmosphere. And I think being able to partner with such innovative companies, not-for-profits, that are aligned very well with Kentucky as being a very innovative and fun brand matches us perfectly. And I'm just going to take a moment to tell you what these 2 cool projects are, because I think they'd be of interest to a lot. But we're partnering with Green Wave, which is a regenerative ocean farming project, which is based in the United States in Connecticut. And they are taking kelp, which they've grown, which has a high carbon storage potential. And as it dies, it sinks and it takes the carbon with it. As opposed to when trees die, they release the carbon into the atmosphere. So this is really positive. And then that second project is Project Vesta, and that has to do with using our oceans, which we have, of course, all over the world, to remove 1 trillion tons of excess carbon from the atmosphere. And so what we're doing is they're taking olivine, which is something that's readily available, volcanic mineral, and placing it on the beach. And there, the wave action is able to speed up carbon dioxide, which captures the process and also de-acidifies the ocean. And then fourthly, we're going to offset. So we realize that there's certain things that we can't reduce at the moment. So we're going to offset our unavoidable emissions, which includes phasing into carbon neutral trips, which for Kentucky, I'm proud to say is the 1st of January 2022. And we'll be offsetting our emissions through 3 projects, one in South Dakota, a wind farm, second, a forest conservation project in Victoria, Australia, and third, a biogas energy project down in Thailand. And then last but not least is step 5, which is to continue to learn. And that's important, that we're going to invest in new technologies and support strategic alliances that enable us in the industry to really move to a low carbon economy.
I love that, and I love that you have taken all these different steps and measurements to, put these things in place. But is it possible to put a number to your current carbon footprint?
Well, if we look at our carbon footprint, we have to look at it in 2 separate buckets. And first, we've got to look at our business emissions. So this comes from, our offices when we used to work in them pre-COVID, and of course, we'll go back to them one day. Our business travel and all of our own assets. So for us, we own 2 properties over in Europe, a luscious French chateau, as well as a Gasthof in the Austrian Tyrol. So we have to factor those 2 properties in. And then we also look at our trip emissions, which are emissions from, say, the hotels, hostels that our travelers stay in, as well as the food they eat, of course, the transport they need to get around. And we're measuring our business emissions through some cloud-based reporting, and then we're measuring our trip emissions through a customized trip calculator that was specially formulated for us. So we took 40 trips globally, broke all the pieces down to really be able to come up with this number, which ranges anywhere from, well, I guess if we look at it, 74% of our emissions are related to our trips, and 24% are coming from our owned assets. So what this has really told us is that we have a lot of work to do at the destination level to transition to clean energy, and we're working with a lot of partners like ABTA and the different destinations and how we can build responsibly.
Tasha, well, good luck to you and the team. It sounds exciting. We are so excited for this plan. But thank you so much for your time this morning and just giving us all the insight on what we can expect for this year, but also for 2022.
Thank you very much for having me, and a pleasure.
Once again, a big thank you to Sustainability Officer and European Operations Director, which we just spoke to, Tasha Hayes, for joining us via video call this morning. This Earth Day, let's do our part to save the planet and make this world a better place.
And we need to make it our responsibility to hand over Earth in a healthier state to the next generation.
And here's the thing, we truly are blessed here in South Africa to have beautiful nature all around us. I mean, you look over here, you look over there, you look everywhere. Anywhere you look, you're going to find the beauty. Located now in the cradle of humankind lies the Botongo Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve. It's beautiful, just a short drive outside of Johannesburg, right?
Yeah, and our boy Harmony was lucky enough to spend the day discovering some of their hidden gems. Let's check it out.
Good morning from the Botongo Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve near Krugersdorp in the cradle of humankind. For the past few months, you've seen some of the variety of experiences that this amazing place has to offer. Think of it as one of South Africa's best kept tourism secrets. We're going to be discovering a whole lot more amazing hidden gems. So come along with us. Let's go. Our first hidden gem is the stunning new Okavango deck. Picture this, yourself here, sitting as you nibble on some tapas, enjoying this beautiful sight of plains and game grazing right in front of you. The Okavango deck is a sophisticated bush venue for adults, which means no kids under the age of 18 are allowed. Sorry, kids. But the good news is that they will be kept very busy while they play at the Little Piri Play Park. Wow, look at all of this. My inner child wants to come out and play, but it's only for kids under the age of 12. Oh well. If you're looking for a hidden gem for the whole family, this is the perfect destination for the weekends and school holidays. Now for our next hidden gem. The Angel's Den Shabin was actually named after one of the lions here at the reserve. I'm here with Mike, the manager at the Angel's Den Shabin. Mike, can you tell us what is special about this new attraction?
It's outside of the reserve, so you don't get to pay entrance fees. So you just drive in, you park, it's got its own parking lot, and then as you walk in, there's a nice sitting area, and then we've got our swimming pool, got a lifeguard on site. As you sit and relax, you get to enjoy some of the wildlife that we have here. We've got giraffes, we've got zebras, we've got emus, we have got white Arabic oryx, and then you get to also hire the venue out for your private functions, weddings, and parties. And then on weekends, we also have got a live snake show going on between 1 and 2 in the afternoon.
As if the Okavango deck, the Little Piri Play Park, and the Angel's Den Shabin weren't enough of an incentive to get you on over right here to the Botongo Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve. There's something else. Welcome to the Chobe Cafe and Deck. This is the perfect spot for those of you who want to get onto your bicycle this weekend. It has a great selection of grab-and-go meals and refreshments that will fuel you up to get back onto the road. You can also enjoy the Chobe Deck with its views of the peaceful dam in the Waterfowl Park. Imagine this, sipping your coffee to the sounds of birds and breathing in tranquility. Beautiful. What a fantastic day here at the reserve. With so many incredible activities, attractions, and experiences, the Botongo Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve is definitely the place to be.
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm so jealous.
It's beautiful.
But of course, you guys at home, you can, your family can also enjoy and obviously discover the amazing hidden gems at the Botongo Rhino and Lion Nature Reserve. And you can follow them on social media and go along to rhinolion.co.za to book.
The thing is, it's perfect for families, it's perfect for singles, it's perfect for couples. I've had a few drinks there myself, and I love it. But listen to this, you stand the chance to win your share of some fantastic prizes when you play and win the spin game. Remember, the wild awaits.
Oh, you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Ah, yes, you heard it. That's what's happening. But
why'd you stop dancing? Why'd you do the dance, man?
You guys just missed the beautiful tick dance.
The tick dance, yeah.
Now we're talking about outdated mobile phones. Of course, you're live here on S3. We're opening up, and we're talking about damaged hard drives. We're talking about technology, laptops, all the things when it comes to electronics, and all the things that have also become obsolete. Now they are often relegated to maybe a drawer in the home, a cupboard, or one of those storerooms that you have in the office somewhere. But according to the E-Waste Association of South Africa, each person in South Africa actually generates about 6.2 kilograms. That's right, 6.2 kgs of e-waste annually. Now, the Department of Environmental Affairs estimates an annual national tally of, get this, 360,000 tons. Now, that is a huge number. And yeah, joining us in the studio, of course, to help us get rid of and sort out the junk on this earth today for Earth Day is Grant Haynes.
I'm going to solve the problem of e-waste.
Yeah.
So what's happening, man?
It's a devastating issue, actually.
Because it's also, so many of these things are single use. They have one life and that's it. I think we've got a lot of garbage gathering dust. Most people have in their house. You talk about that drawer, that cupboard, you know, you've got it there amassing. How should we be disposing of it?
That's actually a good way to keep it, is in a drawer, like away from landfills. So ironically, it's devastating on the environment, and there's so many components inside batteries and inside of our phones that are destructive, like vehemently destructive, but also just valuable. There's like metals and compounds in there that you want to reuse, because otherwise they have to be mined again, right? And then that's like a problem as well. And you're right, a single use. I mean, these phones are lasting like a year or 2 years, and then like there's only so much we can
possibly... seems to be getting shorter and shorter now as technology, the inner workings of technology gets faster and faster.
Yeah, so one of the best things that you can do is use the technology for as long as you physically can. Like, that's one of the tips. So if you don't need to upgrade, you don't have to upgrade. That's something I'm a big proponent of. Number two, always downstream your tech. So downstreaming your tech is, you know, when you do get an upgrade, your phone still is working, give that to a family member. Find somebody who needs it. Make sure that it's available for somebody else to use so that it doesn't end up in a landfill. Like, sometimes it just means it needs a minor repair, like a sheet of glass, you know, because the screen's cracked or something. And it's called downstreaming. So downstreaming really helps. And then, like, at some instances, there are organizations, you know, like the E-Waste Association of South Africa, who provide services for retailers that sell electronics that you can go and let go of old technology, and then they will then strip those parts and then recycle the components in there and dispose of them correctly, because again, like stuff like batteries is really damaging on the environment.
This is what I wanted to ask. I mean, if you look at it and you look at the game, you've got your cables, you've got your accessories, you've got your gear that you use, and all of them are made of all these different components. And when we look at South Africa, it feels like we're not really there when it comes to e-recycling. So what would be some of the advice that you have, like when it comes to these different components, how can we be more savvy when it comes to actually recycling? I have no use for this cable anymore. It's the old USB cable. What do I do with it?
One of my big advice is there are organizations like the E-Waste Association that like provide these drop-off points. Darko is one of them. If you go to your shop or a retailer that you've been to, there are a couple Desco, sorry, not Darko, Desco is the organization. Okay. They will then provide drop-off points for you, but give them a call. Find out if you can if there's a mall near you where you can drop off your e-waste, and then they will dispose of it correctly. Again, it's not really spoken about. I think the whole world is behind it. We're not behind in any measure, like compared to everybody else, but we can be the leader in this, which is a good opportunity. Because we don't like to waste technology. I know a lot of people do like downstreaming tech, and we need to work out ways. Even at Woolies, if you guys go to Woolworths, you can drop off your batteries. Every single Woolworths has a battery disposal thing. So don't don't throw your batteries in the bin. It's actually really bad. Keep them in a separate little box or a bag, and next time you're off to Woolworths, just make sure you've got that bag with you in the car and you can drop it off. Batteries are extremely corrosive and can cause huge damage and like hundreds of years worth of damage to the environment if not disposed correctly.
I think one of the areas that's most exciting is looking at kind of, using that tech to develop, there's schools that need computers. There's ways that we can do that. Are there, just lastly, any NGOs or people out there that are operating in this space that need support?
So there is an NGO called Tech Relief. If you search them up, you can find them. They are able to take in old tablets, old iPads, old phones, old computers, and then repurpose them and fit schools and organizations that do need that kind of technology. We're living in a very technologically driven world. Like, this is how we operate, and we need to make sure that technology is available for everybody.
It's a digital world. Grant, thank you so much, as always. Some amazing tech insight this time on how to recycle those old gadgets, from recycling your tech to recycling your recipes. This next dish will ensure that you always have a delicious meal on hand when you need it most.
Yes, bring the family. 100%. Your cousin's coming over. Get the crush and I'll get the ice. The whole family.
More Crush Mom? 100% refreshing, 100% goodness.
Made with love by Clover.
We know this all too well. When unexpected visitors arrive and you need something delicious, you whip out this chicken tikka masala in the freezer just to heat up and serve with the basmati rice and a glass, of course, of crushed 100% goodness. This takeaway favorite is freezer-friendly and quick to reheat, giving you the chance to spend more time with your guests. And one of our guests here today is, of course, the beautiful Taylor, a.k.a. Chicana. We're going to change it up a bit. But this smells amazing. I was literally sitting on the opposite side, and I was like, what is that? And I was like,
awakens your senses, no?
Girl, take us through it.
Let's go. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some oil to a medium to hot pot.
Oh, you're going in with the oil?
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's do the things. Then you're going to add, you don't have to chop your onions, roughly just like get them chunky, because they'll cook down.
Okay, perfect. Good to know.
So the reason you want to add quite a bit of oil is because the spices tend to dry out all your veg. And then I'm going to add some masala paste.
Ooh, going in with that. I'm the person that when someone is cooking, I'm going to pour myself a drink. So right now I'm going to pour myself the 100% mango right here. I'm just getting that in.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated while you work, girl.
Of course. So you just want to mix that through. You want your onions to cook soft. And sort of coat in the masala paste
100%.
just to get that super rich flavor. And while that's doing its thing, we're going to add in chopped red peppers.
I like how you're taking me through all of this. Like I'm going, yeah, I'm going to follow. I'm following along, yeah. I'm the unexpected visitor.
Of course.
Hopefully the visitors are not the people that are like, I don't eat standard cooks.
Oh, no. We're not fans.
We are not dealing with that.
Those. You eat what I serve. Right?
I'm coming to your house. I'm coming to your house.
Then you're going to add in your cubed chicken breasts.
Nicely.
Nicely. And what you want to do now is you need to coat the chicken in everything.
Do not mess, okay, because then now I'm not coming to your house. But the best part of this recipe is that you can actually freeze it up to 3 months. So
definitely.
Whenever the family's coming over, up to 3 months,
just take it out
in the freezer and just pop it out. And then I believe you're going to defrost it in the fridge and then allow it to really cool down.
Yeah, because so you've got dairy in here, so you don't want to put it in the microwave or back onto the stove. Let it just do its thing on its own, and then boom.
Before we do this, when you're wanting to put it into the freezer, is there any top tips that you want to share with us?
I would say an airtight container, just because you don't want any freezer burn on your chicken. So also make sure your chicken is completely coated in the sauce.
Okay.
Snap it into an airtight container and Bob's your uncle.
There we go. Okay, so now this is where the good stuff and the flavors comes in.
So we're going to add some chopped tomatoes. Neat. And this is what you're going to need to cook down, because you know what raw tomato tastes like. Not the one.
Not a vibe.
Not the one.
is not a vibe.
All right, so mix that through. Add some of your tomato puree.
Ooh, yummy.
Also just to add more flavor, more color, more texture, but let it cook down.
And of course, if you want to get your hands on any of the ingredients listed here today, expressoshow.com is where you can get your hands on that. It is smelling already amazing in here.
So we're going to add some water. This will help your tomatoes cook all the way down nicely.
Warm water, cold water?
Cold water.
Cold water. Got it. I'm following along, girl. I'm just trying to get all the details here.
You know what I'm saying?
Scoop of this masala that you're making here.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to let this cook. So you need your chicken to cook till it's like, you don't want raw chicken because you don't want any of your guests getting sick.
Well, depends who's coming over. Just, if the beast is coming over, 100%. I'm putting it like on a young simmer so that it can get sick.
Right.
The fact that you only met him today and you're already saying right and agreeing with me, you're my girl.
That was a mistake. Don't kill me.
Tell me so. Okay,
then
so what is
to
the
top
next
it
step?
off, you're going to add your dairy. So let's actually just add in our chutney first.
Yum, yum.
Chutney also just adds that.
No. Let me tell you, chutney is the girl that you think she is.
She really is.
She just hypes up the dish. It
She takes a dish from...
just zing.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
Then you're going to add in your dairy, some fresh cream. This will also take out that very sharp tomato taste. And then, of course, some plain yogurt.
Some plain yogurt.
Right.
Double the yumminess, all of
what
that
I'm
going in. And that is going to cook for just approximately how long?
So I'm going to give it about 20 minutes at most.
At most?
At most. Just until your chicken is cooked, and that your tomato taste is gone. And all you're tasting is spice, flavor, all that yumminess.
So you could actually make this when the guest does come. You could. But I mean, it's also perfect then to as well just take out of the freezer and then reheat.
Definitely.
I am the over girl because
Please do.
I'm the person I'm going to taste. Let me eat. Okay, then obviously you have some nice...
Beautiful naan bread. You can serve it with rice, naan bread, parathas, whatever really tickles your fancy.
I'm excited. My excited is excited.
Yeah? We're winning.
She's speaking to the inside of my life, and it is everything. This is amazing. Now remember to add crush to your day. Not only is it 100% fruity and tasty, but it is also stacked with 100% goodness. And let me tell you, she's the one though.
Beautiful.
You are the one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm banging again.
Delicious.
Yes, bring the family. 100%. Your cousin's coming over. Get the crush and I'll get the ice.
The whole family. More Crush Mom. 100% refreshing, 100% goodness.
Made with love by Clover. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you gorgeous people. Yes, your Feel Good Breakfast show here on S3 open up to some inspiration and entrepreneurship. Moors, that's the business. It's an Upcycled initiative that aims at cleaning the environment by collecting non-toxic waste and creating beautiful, usable and practical products following a green path. Now, the business also employs previously disadvantaged women and refugees, affording them the opportunity of decent employment. It's a beautiful story, and the director, designer and co-founder of Moors Design, Rhino, joins us on this Earth Day to tell us more about it. Rhino, good morning.
Good morning.
So good to see you.
Thank you. You too. Happy Earth Day, guys.
Thank you. You too. I know this has a special significance to you. Beautiful.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
beautiful.
Thank you so
and that's
much.
where it all starts. I think this is amazing. Bietjie van Moors.
Moors. The story van Moors.
Trash is another person's treasure, and that couldn't be more true in your case. How did you guys come about?
So Moors Design is a sustainable brand that manufactures products from recycled material, predominantly recycled tire tube.
Okay.
And the whole process involved is we go to the depot, the landfill in Atlantis. We collect the material from there, we bring it back to our studio, we put it through a thorough cleaning process before we hand cut, hand stitch and hand weave these beautiful products, all from recycled tire tube.
That's crazy. 'Cause this we're looking at some pretty premium design here.
Well, these are beautiful. I mean, what was the artistic journey? How did you decide on the look and I suppose the approach for your brand?
You know what, I don't feel that I sat down and thought, okay, this is the direction that I want to go with this brand. It kind of just evolved and morphed into what we see in here. I like beautiful products and beautiful things, and when I see something beautiful, I'm like, I wonder how I can incorporate that into the Moors brand. And voila, this is what we have.
And a beautiful range. We're going to get you to kind of go through some of the individual pieces in a moment, but let's look at the practicalities of running a business. There is such a drive to push entrepreneurial kind of efforts here. As a designer, what does it take to be successful? How challenging is it designing and running a business in this country?
Wow, as a South African designer, I think we face many challenges. I can only talk from my experience in the world of sustainability. I think my biggest challenge was trying to change the mindsets of South African consumers to become more conscious with regards to consumerism and sustainable fashion, and also to support local businesses, because I find that people would prefer to buy a fake Gucci or Louis Vuitton bag instead of supporting a business with purpose like Moors Designs, for instance. So I think that has been my biggest challenge, but fortunately we're getting there. Slowly but surely the mindsets are changing, people are becoming far more conscious, and you know, the green economy is growing.
Yeah, and you get something completely unique.
I mean,
I love that.
These are beautiful and they're elegant, right?
Yeah,
I'm even looking at them and I'm thinking it's an extravaganza of eleganza. They are just so elegant. I love it.
Wow, thanks, man.
Eleganza. Maybe that's the new
Don't put it on your flyers.
I'm coming to the show every morning for these compliments. Thanks.
I love this. There's a big story behind it. I think that the purpose isn't just around sustainability as far as the environment is concerned, is that you employ women and refugees who are people that really need the employment. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, basically I work in our studio. We work very closely with refugees and they manufacture all the handmade products. So all the hand-stitched and hand-woven products, have a look at that. That's made by Trevor, who works at the studio. And then the machine-stitched bags are outsourced to women in the township. Her name is one of the women that I work with, her name is Josie, and she's an ex-factory worker who started a little cottage industry business from her home.
Love it.
And when she has big orders, she creates employment for some of the unemployed women and teaches them the skills of bag making. So Moors's ethos is very much about community development, skills development, job creation, and of course, last but not least, cleaning the environment.
Yes.
And also creating beautiful premium products.
Yes, of
So,
course.
can you quickly just point out some of the pieces, and then I understand that one of these pieces could be yours, that you've got a really cool competition running.
Yes, we are running a competition currently. So if you go to our Instagram page at Morse Design and you like it and you follow the instructions, you could be the winner of one of these beautiful bags. It's this bag, actually. It's called the Kara Circle.
Look at that.
It's 100% handmade from recycled tire tube.
Wow.
And if you open it, it's got an element of surprise, a pop of color.
Wow.
So it's not just black, dull, grey bags.
No,
It's got like color in it.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to show you this specific bag over here, if you don't mind.
Oh, I
This
love the
bag,
detail. Look at the texture of that.
This bag is 100% handmade, hand cut, hand stitched, and hand woven from the recycled tire tube.
I love that. Completely.
Yeah. It takes us quite a long time to make this, about 2 days. But yeah,
And that's each bag. I love that. Stunning.
You are amazing. You need to be applauded for the work that you are doing
Thank you,
on
Graham.
every level.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Success to you, and
you.
may it be a booming business, and may you continue to transform people's lives. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. The products speak for themselves.
Thank you,
Rihanna,
Graham.
look
Thank you,
into
Teresa.
that camera over there and say Moore's Design. Extravaganza, eleganza.
Morse Design, Extravaganza, Eleganza. I hope I said it as good as you,
brand
Teresa.
of products that speak for themselves. Certainly a good way to contribute to saving the environment. And while you're at it, get some eleganza in your life. I love it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Don't forget to follow our page at Morse Design.
We are obsessed with sleep, and it's not just us. The business of sleep is global. We buy smartwatches to track our sleep quality. We invest in mattress and pillows. We agonize over thread count and fabric choices. We drink down sleep tonics. Silicon Valley has even unleashed sleep robots which cuddles us. Now, we have created an entire sleep economy, all in the pursuit of a good night's sleep. Danelle Weekly, our homeware editor, she's in studio to help us steer us in the right direction when it comes to choosing just the right things to make for your best night's sleep. And starting with, of course, a pillow and duvet inners. This is something I get quite passionate about because I feel like there's something for each season, for each thing that's wrong with you. You can fix it through buying the right pillows and duvets.
That's why it sometimes feels a little bit intimidating, because there's a lot to think about. So even just with buying a pillow or a duvet, you need to think about the fiber, the quality, the weight, the fabric, so things like that. So what's inside and what it looks like. But I brought a couple of different options, as you can see, and I'm going to run you through them.
Okay.
So I picked 3 of my favorites that I think also kind of work for everybody. So if you're a hypoallergenic sleeper, dun, dun, dun,
this one is
the anti-allergy pillow. So great if you've got any kind of allergies. It's actually fully recycled. So 1 million plastic bottles that would have gone into landfills are locally manufactured, turned into recycled polyester, and that makes the hollow fiber that fills these duvets.
And for me, I don't like a pillow that's too hard or too soft, so I like that in-between firmness, which is quite great.
It is a nice firmness. The softer pillows, so the duck down, which is all natural, they're super long-lasting as well. So a duck pillow will generally last you about 25% longer than any of the others, so great cost per wear. And then there's the memory foam. So this is kind of if you prefer a higher loft, it's memory foam. It contours to your neck and your back, so great for neck and back pain and a slightly firmer sleep.
I feel like I have one of each on my bed. I do have a memory foam. It's like the hard one, the soft one, and the extra soft one.
So then people like you also need to know when to replace your pillows, right?
Yes, please tell me, how often are you supposed to replace your pillow?
So the idea is every 1 to 2 years, but in theory, it's if you can fold it in half. Which, I mean, you can see these are beautiful and puffy. You're not going to be able to fold them.
So if you suppose...
If they're such a plat Anna that you can actually fold them in half, like the buttercook, then they need to go. But you'll also feel it. If they're starting to feel lumpy, or if you're getting neck pain or headaches or anything along those lines, it's time. But if you can fold them def's time.
Okay. Now, I love that we've touched on the pillows because I feel like this is a whole world we can explore for like more than the few minutes that we have right now. Let's shift our attention to the duvet inners.
Yes.
I have a duvet for winter, I have one for summer, and it just takes up a lot of space. But I know you've brought 3 special ones along.
They do take up a lot of space, but you're absolutely right that you want one for summer and winter. So the important thing to know about duvets is to look at their TOG rating. And if you've ever stood in Woolworths and wondered what a TOG was, the TOG is how much it either retains or lets go of heat. So a low TOG rating like a 3 means it's a summer weight and it'll release a lot of heat, whereas the higher TOGs up to like a 13 retain a lot of heat and keep you warm.
Okay.
So that's how it works. So something like, and this is my favorite, I think it's genius, this is the all-season duvet. Dun, dun, dun.
I needed that in my life.
I know. So it's actually 2, it's a low TOG and a higher TOG that you can clip together. So in summer, just use the one that's lighter. As it gets cooler, use the heavier TOG, which is, so you've got a 5 TOG and an 8 TOG, and then by winter you can clip them together to make a 13 TOG that can basically take you to the Antarctic if you prefer.
Gosh, I love, that's my kind of sleep.
I know, don't you love it?
Where you wake up and you're like, I actually don't want to leave the comfort of my bed right now.
These are great. So this is the all season. You also get a hypoallergenic. So again, if you suffer from any allergies, if dust mites trigger things, it's made with the same hollow fiber that's used in the pillow, so fully recycled. The hollow fiber means that there's a lot more air pockets in the duvet, so again, it traps heat a lot. And then the classic, the all-natural duck, which is super soft and fluffy and contours against your body. And those are my 3 babes.
I'm assuming won't replace as often as your pillow?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They definitely don't need the fold them in half 2-year guarantee. No, they stay for a lot longer.
What is the ideal lifespan, or is there no specific?
I don't think there's necessarily a lifespan for a duvet because it depends how much you use it, but you'll feel if it starts to get lumpy, it's time to replace. So it'll start thinning in patches when it's too old, and then you kind of want that loft again for something that's a bit fluffier.
Well, Danelle, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Okay, I think we have that covered then. The sleep economy and a good 8 hours is yours for the taking. Now, you can find all of your bedroom needs at Woolworths, plus you get 20% off selected bedding and inners, as well as an extra 5% off when paying with your Woolies card online. This offer is only valid for a limited time and subject to availability, and remember, it's for online only, and those T's and C's do apply.
Here's to you, Mzansi. Combine multiple loans into one with one affordable repayment. Get a Nedbank personal loan. Apply at nedbank.co.za/personal loans.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Made with love by Clover.
This is his Earth Day dance, guys, and you can't
You can't unsee it.
Well, look, obviously with Earth Day, with everything that we've been speaking about today, we've got some brighter stuff for you as well. And the warmth and the temperatures coming through in SA are still sunny, and it's still a good time for us all around the country to be looking at something a lot smoother. And we're talking about a smooth frozen treat to cool us down, and it's made with the Tikka icy frozen lollies, and we have everything you need right here. Now, our freezer food theme today has inspired recipes for the whole family. Now, kids, you want to pay attention because this one is for you. It's a Tikka icy fruit slushy bowl. And Jamie Lee Dominick's here to show us that's done.
This hits all the feels right now. It's taking me back to growing up in retreat, but getting a bumpy.
I was going to say a bumpy. What was another name for those? Like a bunnylick or something?
A bunnylick,
yeah.
a bumpy. What you're going to do right now is turn around.
Is it in the freezer?
It's in the freezer.
Yes,
in the second drawer.
nice and
I put
cold.
it in there.
Come here.
The second drawer. And then you're going to just pop that out. So you obviously want to make sure that it's not. I know, right? Oh, you're as excited as I am.
I'm feeling like that kid back in the day now. You want to pass with the scissors there? I can cut this open.
Oh, you're going to cut it?
No,
Here we go.
You can.
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
I let you work today on Earth Day because this entire show was about you. So let's make
This
you
is a
work.
little celebration. I love the fact that obviously if it comes out of the fridge, it can be very icy. So just give it a little bit of a squish, make it nice and mushy, and then we make a nice big cut on the end here so we can get it all out. And look at this, guys. This is the best part. Look at that slush, Jamie.
So obviously there's 3 flavors that you can use. We are going in. What flavor is this that you used?
This one over here is, let me tell you now, it's definitely the pineapple. Look at me oozing all over the kitchen here like a kid. I thought I could mix pineapple with mango and peach. How cool would that be?
Let's
like 2
try.
flavors in one. Let's try it out. Yeah.
We are
so
not
cut
saying
that
no.
open, and look how quick we can do this as well. You have those nagging kids that are like, Mom, I'm hungry. I want a treat. Didn't even take a minute, and boom, we're almost done with that. Yeah.
We should.
You want another one?
Yeah. No, I'm showing off. Okay, so we're going to also then pop in some fruit in as well. So we got some pineapple.
Yeah.
Wait, look at us. This looks like
It looks cool, yeah. Look at the colors as well.
bougie bumpy. Not sure that's a thing.
This bumpy went to private school, Jamie.
Hey.
Full colors in graduation.
Definitely some grapes.
So you're adding some grapes, some pineapple, some colors, which I love as well. And the fact that we're using fruit is always a good thing because it's the good kind of energy that we need. It's got good fiber, which is going to help with breaking down a lot of the stuff that we do need when we are digesting. And if you talk about a fruit salad and you look at this, this is what it's about. This is it.
I'm excited, so excited
I
for
love
this.
it.
And it also just reminds you of like when you went to the airport, that slushies and everything. So you're going to eat the fruit and then you pop it in and you get this yummy.
Get involved while you do that,
right
Jamie. I want to tell you one more thing to chill. Now listen up, because you can stand a chance to win one of 3 Tikka icy hampers. And all you have to do is reply to the competition post on Expresso's Facebook or Twitter page and tell us which flavor you would most like to try. And don't forget to use the hashtag Tikka icy. And the competition closes Friday, the 23rd of April at 9 a.m. Your T's and C's can be found on expressoshow.com. My answer, mango and peach is definitely my favorite. Enjoy, guys.
We love you. See you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Have a good one. Enjoy Earth Day.
Here's to one last slice of summer and our first taste of autumn. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.